Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hello, welcome everybody all around the world into the hottest show in all the globe, the Watch Report. Yes, sir, with me, yo, Jean-Luc Watch, make some noise, get excited, clap it up wherever you are. We are back with another action-packed episode for you today, covering the world of boxing and beyond. We got so much to cover in developments, and not just the ongoing debate between running and boxing, now weighed in on by Turki Al-Sheikh himself. Also, we got title shots that just got announced with Abdullah Mason. And I told you it was going to happen. I told you it was going to happen sooner rather than later. One of the biggest rising stars in all the sport that just had his star power elevated even more. Now is getting a shot at a mandatory WBO title opportunity. Also, we got to talk about some Canelo and Crawford stuff with the new realization I didn't realize coming into with Crawford that I think we failed to touch on with all the ins and outs of this fight. There's something I think we need to discuss that might give Crawford more trouble than we may have realized, and something that we just neglected. All that and so much more. We still got, and again, this is still you all to show. So at the end of the show, or at any point in time, you can flip the script and talk about whatever you want to discuss, trust, and believe. It's going to be a lot to cover. And shoot, we rocking and rolling. So I'm glad to be here with you all today. So again, leave a like on the video if you're here. Comment your thoughts and opinions on whatever we discuss on the show today. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Share, hit the notification bell so you know whenever we go and post on anything with this channel. Share the podcast with everybody you know so we can keep on building up this empire together. Yes, sir. We're growing, we're thriving. We just got some new subscribers coming into the fray. Thank you so much over on yesterday. And what's the other thing? Oh, we're also available on every podcasting platform imaginable. So Apple, Spotify, you name it, we're there. If we're not, tell us. We're going to get there absolutely. I know we have been a little bit late. Posted some stuff. I've been trying to do some stuff behind the scenes. So editing everything by myself, along with the podcast and the shorts and the clips, and also trying to do some things down the line. I haven't been as on top of it with getting the episodes up there. I'm going to fix that. Oh, I recognize the problem. We're going to get that fixed absolutely. But in the meantime, rate us 5 stars anyway. Yes, sir. So we can keep so we can still get this thing out and popping for the world to see. And yeah, so we can make it happen. Also, if you want to donate, help out to the show, we got support over here on the screen. Cash App. I don't know why the other one ain't showing, but you can give the Cash App, give to PayPal. Links in the description if you want to. Mean the world to me. Help out the channel. Help me support. It's my job. Gotta do what I gotta do, but we're gonna make it worth your while to go and give if you want to give to the show. We ain't got super chat, so this is what we got. But regardless of which, we got a bunch of stuff to talk about. We got the world of boxing covering the sports world also to delve into. So, without further ado, since we talk about boxing first and foremost, it is time to step into the ring. Yeah, buddy. That's right. Ring the bell. Let's get it started. Round 1 going underway. Thank you so much for your patience. Again, like I said, I've been trying to do a lot of stuff, and we had to start a little bit late. I'm not going to lie. I wasn't feeling too well. I can't lie. So I was low-key. I overslept. Ooh, don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody. I overslept. Don't tell nobody. I overslept. I wasn't feeling too well this morning. So I had to, but hey, the energy and fervor of this show is what's going to keep me going regardless. Don't matter. We don't make excuses. We only give you results. That's what we do. And the first result of the day is, let me make sure I got the right card for it. Since Jay Will, you brought it up first. Tom and Dre, we got to talk about it. But we're going to talk about it right now. Oh, yeah. Well, before I give the clapping sentiments, oh, yeah. We got to talk about Turki on running and boxing. There's no weight in with his own weight and threshold on what exactly is the means for what this sport should be when it comes to the world of boxing, specifically when it comes to running versus boxing. Yes, there has been an ongoing debate that we've had over the course of, honestly, months at this point. After the result of Devin Haney versus Jose Ramirez, Canelo versus William Skull. A couple of the fights also slipped through the cracks. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember at this point in time. But regardless of which, the conversation has been that running is a rampant issue in the sport of boxing. Oh Lord. Oh my gosh. Everything's all awry. Everything's all awry, rather. And there is a big, underwhelming, bubbling issue that we are not getting action-packed fights anymore. Now we have the big kahuna, the man who has been on the forefront, of making this whole sport rejuvenized. and giving back life, making big fights, spending a bunch of money. And now he's saying, hey, brother, I don't want it. This is wrong. We got to get rid of it. And in fact, let me pull up the tweet specifically so we can get the full quote on it. Doggone it. Come on. Don't do this to me now. We had it. Again, even though I had to rush a little bit to make sure I got everything that we needed for this show done right. Lord, I do not want something go awry, and I can't pull up the stuff no more. There we go. Yep. Got it right here. As we go to the old picture for you all to be able to see what we got going on. Also, we got more people. Jay, well, I do see a comment. I'm just trying to make sure that I got this thing up so we can actually see the stuff properly. Good gosh. There we go. Yeah, we cooking with grease now. Here we go in the old picture. Bang, bang, boom. As you can see, from this point on, from the words of Turki Al-Sheikh himself, from this point on, I don't want to see any more Tom and Jerry type boxing matches. Oh yeah, where one fighter is running around the ring and the other is chasing him. We can no longer support these kinds of fights where we have season in the ring. We want to support fighters who will leave it all in the ring and fight with heart and pride. Now, this is insane. In fact, let me go on and give a like and save this so I can make sure I have this for the future already packed up and ready for me to go through. But let me see what you all got to say in the chat. But again, this is directly from Turki Al-Sheikh, his sentiments on and on. But again, it's a bigger issue that we're trying to discuss when it comes to what we mean with running versus boxing. As we go back to the chat for you all to voice your opinions. Let's see right here. Come on. Is it going to do it? Is it going to do it? Hello? Am I doing something wrong? Excuse me. Hello? No, that ain't it. Oh, no, shoot, I don't know what's going on. We're going to fix that. Absolutely. But we going to keep it rocking regardless of which. Well, no, let's see. Jay Will, the card watching Devin and Skull disappointed Turki greatly. I knew it would be considered. I knew it would, considering all the stuff that was put on the event. Welch is going to probably fall in line with referee discretion, just like excessive clinching can be called. You're right. Let's see. Oh, Justin Kim. Joe, what's good with you? How you doing? Thanks for tuning in to the show. Appreciate you coming on board with what we got going on right now. Yes, sir. Let's see what you have. Oh, stop it. Now I want to be specific. What do you want us to stop? Because this is indeed it's an interesting endeavor that has everybody really up in arms over exactly what's going on with the issue of running. Is it even a problem in your eyes or not? I want to hear from you. But what exactly is it that you want him to stop? Because it sounds like he is voicing the opinion of what a lot of other people have been voicing with the issue that's going on that can become a very rampant issue with running or actively not trying to engage in the sport of boxing. That's the problem. But again, I want to hear your opinion on it all. No question about it. Let's see. Jay Will, Turki likes Bivos, so he just doesn't want William Skull mess, which I think is fair. And I think that is a discredit to Bevo. Okay, there we go. Okay, good. We got it back working. Okay, yeah. But I think it's a discredit to Bevo to have that type of sentiment. Because you have to understand, when we look at Bevo, we never said that Bevo runs. Have we ever said that Bevo is a runner in this sport? We've called him one of the best boxers that the land has to offer. We've called him one of the best technicians that this sport has in any weight class. We've seen this man come to and dominate Canelo while still being able to box on the outside. We've seen him dance and fight with Beterbiev for 24 rounds, and each one was beautiful. We just said if you had gotten more action in the first fight, you might have pulled out the first fight. But in terms of like offensive activity, but we understand because of the demonstrative power that we know Better Be brings to the table, it's a dangerous thing. But regardless of which, even with a more quote unquote conservative Bebo, we never called him running. We've never called this man a runner. And so I don't think that's a fair sentiment to bring Bebo in this conversation, because Bebo doesn't apply in this conversation. This is a conversation specific to genuine running in boxing. And like you said before, it's going to come down to most likely referee discretion. Like it says, some clinching needs to be called. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But I think even with clinching, there is a standard and rule. I don't believe, unless I'm misremembering, I don't believe there's a same type of rule-like stopgap like it is with clinching that they have with running. Running is more so, it's, again, we're still trying to make sure we all understand what the fine line is. Because some people are getting accused of saying, oh, if you hate running, then why do you like Floyd? If you hate running, Bebo, why do you like Bebo? If you hate running, why do you like more slick style boxers? That doesn't make any sense. And so we're trying to draw that divide of what is in fact the difference, so we can understand where the actual problem is versus where the actual good boxers are that don't fall prey to that issue. But again, I want to hear your thoughts on this, because now that we got Turkey in the mix, now it's drum up back the conversation yet again. So I want to hear from you all what you got to say. And obviously, Bebo fought off the back foot a lot first, Better Be fight, but he was still looking for offense. That's the issue. It's not about you fighting on the back foot. Fighting on the back foot, front foot, being able to dance, being able to be slick, using the ropes. We don't hate, I won't say I won't hate any of that. And again, J. Will, in my opinion, your opinion's right, because that's what we saw. That's what we marveled at. Nobody had been able to box with Better Be, but Bebo did. Bebo fought off the back foot and was able to actually nearly win that fight, because he was so good. But that is not what we are chastising. Bivol is a perfect example of exactly the type of boxing that we do want to have in the sport. That's the thing. That's the thing. That's the real thing. That Bivol is one of the best lines of demarcation to give us a clear picture as to what is in fact actual boxing, what we call the sweet science in reality. He is a perfect example of it. That is a perfect example. At the highest level of what we mean when we say using your feet, being able to box smart, being a savant of a technician, being able to fight on the back foot, being able to hit and not get hit, but still boxing beautifully. That is what we're talking about. It is a clear and present day. It's a clear and present example, because he went against a clear and present danger and was able to do nothing that we've seen or that we're complaining about with other fighters that are in the prime of this discussion when it comes to this whole running issue in the sport. Let me see. Skull was moving and not looking for offense, even though I'm surprised to hear some boxing fans thought Skull won. People thought Skull won because he was making Canelo miss, and he was occasionally landing pot shot jabs. And by occasion, I mean really few and far between. And the argument is he was owning the pace of the fight because he was forcing Canelo to have to go and chase him around all fight long. And again, that is different. What they're saying would have won him the fight might have actually won him the fight. Controlling the pace, being able to force your opponent to play your game, that's an aspect of controlling the fight, no question. However, you can't do that and not have any offense. You can't just say, ha ha, come get me, and then also you're not throwing anything at all. That is a literal Tom and Jerry type of example, like you brought up. That's exactly what you brought up. That is a Tom and Jerry thing. But instead of Tom and Jerry Jerry trying to hit Tom with a frying pan, a cast iron skillet, an iron, a knife, shooting him with a gun. Oh yeah, they used to do that. I remember they did that a couple times, multiple times on that show for kids. Couldn't you believe it? But again, one of the greatest works of animation that we have in the whole evolution of entertainment. But regardless of which, we've seen Even with Tom and Jerry on the show, Tom and Jerry, brother, they still going back and forth with each other. They still going back and forth. If Tom was chasing Jerry, Jerry would escape, set a trap, and then what he would do, attack right afterwards. Counter the brother with a bomb, with dynamite. A literal dynamite stick. like they would do damage, and they would do damage to each other, even though Jerry was trying to get away. And we all understood without any words in the show. Oh yeah, that brother won. He won this scene. Let's see how Tom reacts. And so, like, even that is an example of a Tom and Jerry fight would actually be incredibly exciting if it was actually like Tom and Jerry, because we would see some people essentially trying to kill each other the second you make a mistake and trying to chase them down. That's what we would see. Even that's better than what we're talking about, William Stone. This is Tom and Jerry if Jerry or Tom never actually tried to fight each other. As in, if he just ran, but instead of capitalizing on when Tom would make a mistake and do some damage, and then go back to making him chase him, literally just running, and then doing nothing else but running. That would not have made for an engaging show for Tom and Jerry. Actually, that would not make for an engaging fight in any way, shape, or form. Like it didn't. That's the difference. Also, we got people in the chat. Al Booger, what's good with you, brother? How you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in to the show. Let's see, Big Turkey tripping. He acting like a straight casual. Oh wow, really? Now, I want to hear why, because he said the same thing I've been explaining, or that we've been debating, and he's closer to my side on what we're talking about when it comes to boxing. Now, I will say an aspect of that quote, as I'll bring it back up, as you can see here, an aspect of this is it can be a little bit problematic. Like right here, from this point on, I don't want to see any more Tom and Jerry type boxing matches where one fighter is running around the ring and the other is chasing it. There is still some nuance to that as well that I'm going to explain. We can no longer support these kind of fights and reacting in the ring. We want to support fighters who will leave it all in the ring and fight with heart and pride. Now, a couple of things with the language that he uses can go easily into the opposite direction. Like with one of the complaints of many people who are quote-unquote casual fans. Not a complaint, but a lot of their point of view. If it's not a knockdown, drag-out brawl, they don't think it's a real fight. That's a sentiment for a lot of people. The Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Jack Dempsey, Manny Pacquiao, the type of uber aggressive, you are leaving it all out there. But that's good. We loved it, no question. But that can easily blend into, okay, if every fight isn't a near-death experience for either fighter, all of a sudden that can be a problem. I'm not saying that at all. What I think is the better middle ground for the real best position is that you want fighters to show that they want to fight. You want them to use all their skills and really, no matter what their style is, go in and be like, nah, I'm really going to show you how great I am by doing everything I know I can do. And also not just being okay with just surviving, if that makes sense. We're not saying everybody's got to go with, okay, last heaved effort to go through and throw everything under the sun. We're not saying that. But I think it's more so from a better standpoint, at least from a better way that this might have been said. We're not talking about knockdown, drag-out brawls is the only real thing in boxing, but a willingness and an appetite to want to fight and really show yourself in the best regard without compromising, okay, you're just there to get away or just to make it through, and that's your best victory, a moral victory. We don't want that in the sport. Because again, like with Skull, like with Haney, that hurts the sport and the optics of the sport. It really does. Mind you, it's only been 2 or 3 major instances from the top stars. Ironically enough, it came from back to back within like a year or two with Haney, Skull, and Shakur. Shakur going against De Los Santos, as all of them, it is still spread out, but it happened close enough, and it's still in so much memory for the minds of boxing fans, even now, going all the way back to Shakur against De Los Santos, that it still stings. It still stings. That fight between De Los Santos and Shakur is still drumming up so much disdain to this day that it's now being brought back as one of the key prime examples of the issue with running in boxing for a lot of people. Like, that's how bad it was. And I'm saying people remember, and bad things tend to stick longer in the minds of fans. Excuse me while I take something to drink. And I see you all commenting. I'm about to read. Excuse me. I'm about to read what you all got to say. Let me go through and get back to the comments. We can keep on with the conversation rolling. Absolutely. I'm a boxing fanatic, not rock'em sock'em. I understand that. And again, I'm not calling for rock'em sock'em either. I think you can show heart and pride in the ring, and it still doesn't have to be a bloodbath. Again, Pernell Whitaker did it. James Toney did it. We've covered defensive fighters before that have done it. And so when we say heart and pride, I mean don't compromise the sport. And don't compromise yourself for the sake of victory. I think that's a better way of explaining the issue with what we saw with the likes of Skull, with the likes of Haney. And though it was a different circumstance with Shakur against De Los Santos, that's what a lot of people are putting on as he's in that same bubble with what we just saw over a couple months ago in New York and in Saudi Arabia with Canelo and Devin Haney. And so I'm not calling for rock'em sock'em. And I don't think that Turki really is calling for that as well. Because if so, he wouldn't be backing Bebo as much as he did, and would be backing more Archibald because of the stylistic nature, the destructive nature. But Bebo is, again, one of the most touted and respected boxers in the world. But he's not rock'em sock'em. But it's still, we never call that running. We never call that an issue, because he's a prime example of it. What it's supposed to be. Welch, wait a minute. Wait. Everybody stop. Everybody stop. Hold on a minute. Let me pull it up. Hold on. Wait a second. Wait a minute. Thanks for giving me the notification. My thing had not refreshed. I got the docs up. My thing just hadn't refreshed yet to show it. Wait a second now. We're always gonna go and give just due to give you the adequate level of adoration if you do indeed choose to give to the show. Wait a second. Wait a minute. Hold on. Hold up. Pump the brakes. Everybody pump the brakes. Did it happen? Did we make some money today? I think yes, we did. Yo, thanks for appreciate the $5, brother. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming through. I appreciate all of the funds. You didn't have to, but we appreciate it nonetheless. Thank you so much for your support. And man, I'm telling you, we're working hard to make this the best show possible. Hey, we thank you so much. Thank you, man. J. Will, brother, it means the world to me. We appreciate it oh so much. And again, if anybody else wants to give to the show and get acknowledged for it, PayPal, Cash App, we all good right now. I know it's cumbersome trying to read it to the people. I got to refresh the pages for both platforms to make it so that they can actually show when somebody pays. So doing the show, refreshing stuff. I'm a one-man band, but we're going to still make it do what it do. But again, we're going to acknowledge anybody. If you give something, say it in the chat, and we'll read it, and we will pull it up as quickly as possible so we can make sure we give you your proper acknowledgement. But Jay Will, thank you so much for the money. Thank you for the $5. Thank you for supporting the show and giving to the empire to help us help us grow more and more every single day. It means the world to me. But let me keep on reading what you got to say. In the chat. I just don't want skull performance. Neither do we. Neither do we in the slightest. Not at all. Gotta engage more. No question about it. Yo, Trey, what's good with you? Thanks for tuning in. Treymo too. Treymo. Yeah, I call you Treymo. That's our term. Treymo, what's good with you, man? Thanks for tuning into the show. Want to hear your thoughts on all of this? Appreciate it so much. Skull was a disgrace. I will say that absolutely, and I'm never going to watch his fights again. I will never watch his fights again. I promise you that. If you ever see Rigo performance versus Casemiro, I think that's purposely not trying to engage at all. That's another great example. Now I got to rewatch that fight because it's a little bit foggy, but I do remember there was a level of, oh gosh, this is not what I took my time to see. This ain't nearly the type of fight that I'm expecting or want to witness, regardless of style. That's another perfect example. There are multiple examples of the issue of running or the issue of non-engagement versus actual, slick or back foot or outboxing or anything that is hit and not get hit. There is a difference in that. And you fans, you all know, you see the difference. Like, you recognize the difference. You all are incredibly smart, incredibly intuitive. Some of y'all got years of experience in the sport. Some of y'all are just getting into the sport. Potentially, hopefully I'm the guy that helps you delve into the world of boxing and beyond. But regardless of which, you understand what you're witnessing with a good or bad product because you're paying for it. Either with your time or with your money or with both. So you all know genuinely exactly what we're describing when we bring up the issue of essentially bad boxing. Not just from just a bad fight, sloppy technique, but bad boxing can also be both. Somebody got elite footwork, but they're not fighting. They're not boxing. It goes against the identity of the sport, and you recognize it. That's why it gives you a very, throw your hands up in the air, what the world type of feeling, because this ain't what it's supposed to be. I see, Abdullah, I agree though. I don't just want to see Gotti Ward stuff again. Perfect, absolutely. Blood and guts are great. Warriors' hearts are great. Some fighters, that's how they fight, no question. Every fight is not. We're not calling for that to be every fight. It's fun, absolutely. If it devolves into that after everybody's tried everything they could, and okay, we just got to go for broke and see what happens. We love that. We're not saying we're against that style. No, we love it. But at the same time, we also understand that's not the only style of boxing, nor is that the only great style that deserves to be seen as respect. It's not. Just because it's the most brutal version of we standing our ground and we trying to fight, don't mean that's the only way a fight needs to look like. But at the same time, the other end of the spectrum is so far away. That is also what we don't want to see on a consistent basis. And so they say respecting him, love Gotti. Just saying absolutely. Let's see, but Canelo could push a little harder. He had power to press him. He had power to press him a little harder. They still both Spanish bros, and so we are not abstaining or taking away any sort of issue or any sort of what's the word? We're not just looking at one side of the coin. We've talked about this before. It takes two to tango. You still got to be able to have another person, if somebody is indeed a mover, to cut off the ring. Anyway, does it multiple times. William Cepeda does it. Every single fight. Canelo has done it. Crawford does it. Everybody, at least at the elites of the elites, they've done it. Cutting off the ring is a valuable aspect. However, again, multiple trainers have said there is a difference in cutting off the ring against somebody who is trying to fight versus cutting off the ring against somebody who doesn't want to fight. Yes, you can work harder. Canelo absolutely could have worked harder. He coasted for round 1 for the entirety of the fight. He coasted like it was round 1 up until round 12. Didn't pop the clutch at all. Didn't even attempt. He was winning the fight, but he didn't try to push the pace. I get it. I understand. But even still, there is still a moniker that it is incredibly difficult for somebody to catch somebody, even the elites of the elites, to catch somebody who doesn't actually want to fight you. As in, how do we say this? Even Inoue versus Paul Butler. Even Inoue versus Paul Butler. When Inoue dominated Paul Butler and knocked the Butler out. One of the reasons, even with the knockout, it was so difficult for Inoue to get that knockout because Paul Butler actively wasn't engaging at all. He was not trying to fight. Canelo versus Charlo. Charlo was not trying to fight. And so we were all saying, my gosh, Canelo, you knocked him down, but you couldn't get him out of there. The brother wasn't even trying to actually go and fight you. There's a reason. Because everything that he was doing was either strictly with blocking or moving, but didn't want to give any sort of opening at all. So he was so shelled up tight that all of his energy was just going to everything's like a laser focus to get out the way. So I don't have to worry about getting caught at all without any sort of other side of the spectrum with trying to win, trying to fight, trying to box. It's hard. It's difficult. I'm telling you. It is. I am all for a fighter needs to still be held responsible for cutting off the ring and do what they need to do. But at the same time, it's against somebody who doesn't want to be there. Even if you are good at tracking them down, it still is not as easy as it may seem to just say, okay, just take the angle and take them. It's not. Because they don't want to be there. They're in survival mode. Those survival instincts of just trying to, okay, I just need to not do anything. And I just got to make it through. They will, it's hard. It is indeed hard. I can't do as well of a job of explaining it because that's more of a in-ring type of experience that you have to really experience for yourself. Other people have been able to put it in better words than me. Exactly why it's so hard to catch somebody, even if you know how to cut off the ring, to be able to get a fight out of them. We've even seen Mike Tyson against boxers who did not want to fight him, who were scared of him, have trouble cutting off the ring against them. We've seen it. It's not every single, we've seen it countless times across the board from varying levels of talent. That it is difficult. It is hard. It is really hard. And it's more difficult, especially when somebody does not want to fight you at all. Because now the only thing is just counter your movement and get away. And there's an opening for you to be able to capitalize on because I'm not going to punch. So it's literally, you just got to hope and pray I get tired. Because it's not an easy task. Again, other boxers have said this more than me. Other boxers have said this with better experience, absolutely, than me. Coaches, as well. It is not a neglected sentiment. It's still a responsibility. But even if they do it right, and still they can't cut off the ring, it's not just because you just didn't do it the right way. It's because. It's because the brother on the other end of the spectrum was not trying to be there. Again, full disclaimer, other people are able to describe this better than me. But I'm telling you, it's harder than you realize for people to cut off the ring and just, for 12 rounds and just win against somebody that just does not want to be there at all. I'm not saying it ain't possible. But if we're seeing in a way you have trouble finishing the job against somebody that doesn't want to be there, like Paul Butler. Though we ultimately got it done. It took him 11 rounds to get there. We just marvel at the KO, but brother, it was not easy. Now, I remember watching that, but it was not easy. And he was able to control the whole fight. It wasn't easy because the brother was just trying to stay alive. That's it. And survival makes people incredibly hard to catch. Absolutely. But let me, I've been going way too long. Let me keep on. Good gosh, hold on. Let me change my voice register. Because I feel like I'm starting to lose my voice more than I want to. Let me go back. I seen a little hesitant in him. I understand it was more so, I saw just boredom and frustration more than anything from Canelo. But I I completely understand how you can see that hesitation might have been there. Absolutely. I wouldn't quite put Haney in the same boat as Skull, given what happened to Haney in his last fight. But I get the comparison. Yeah, Haney won, Skull lost. Haney was more active than Skull, but the similar issues of just trying to do the bare minimum, survive, and just win, and the way that he fought Jose Ramirez was similar. And so, hence the ire. And so I get that. Let me see. Jason Macklin, what's going on? Jason, how you doing? Thanks for tuning into the show. Good to see you. I love Bud, but I think he a bit more of a. I think he a bit more than he can handle. Excuse me. Mason is up and coming superstar. We about to get into that right now. Next, let me just read through the rest of these chats, and then we about to get into both Canelo and Abdullah Mason, because I really want to touch on Abdullah Mason. I want to get back to that Canelo conversation now that we have more drummed up interest for it as the fight is now coming, getting ready to come to fruition. Devin, only performance I really didn't like was Ramirez. And this is what I have been saying. This is one of the few instances of a fight that went awry. From the standpoint of this is not how Devin Haney fights on the normal. We've seen him have one of the better fights of the years against Lomachenko. We've seen Jorge Linares. We've seen, what was his last fight? Kambosos. Or within that championship run. Kambosos. Progress. This is not how Devin Haney fights. Even against Ryan Garcia. Though he was getting beat up to Kingdom Come, he was still not fighting like this. This is it's a big example because it's him, but it's not often that we see him fight like that. It's not. It's just now on top of the clinching that he would use oftentimes, the popping shot jab, and again the slick countering. I get it. Absolutely. Again, he's a phenomenal fighter. He is. It's just that it is one example because of his stardom that has now helped to shape the identity of what he is now as a fighter in the minds of a lot of people. Like I said, it only takes one bad example, one bad first impression to make everybody see you as, no, you're irrelevant, or we don't want you, or this is who you are. That's a problem. Absolutely, that's a problem. But also, we recognize that if he does this and he won, he did this and he won. Skull did this the night after that fight. And we can potentially see more boxers go through, and because Devin Haney has success, follow in those footsteps. Because if I just do the bare minimum, this is a ways to win. We even got on Shakur Stevenson, even though Shakur doesn't fight like that. Absolutely. Understand him. Shakur does not fight like what we saw Devin Haney fight. Like, no question about it. I'm not going to put him in that boat. We know how he actually fights on routine. But that De Los Santos fight still holds a lot of weight for a lot of people as a problem. And one of the great gripes that I had about Shakur was the fact that he would do, even when he would fight like he normally fought, he could do even more with his offensive array because of how gifted and talented that he is. But he would intentionally not do as much, though he would still dominate the fight. And it was like he was holding himself back because he just did enough to secure, get the win, and then boom, do what he got to do. It was still flawless boxing. It was still not what we saw Devin Haney do on that night of Jose Ramirez. Perfect example, Shakur versus Artem Harutyunyan. He still controlled that entire fight, was fighting in the pocket, slipping, countering, uppercuts, off the shoulder roll, walked Harutyunyan down, did everything. But then when he had Harutyunyan hurt multiple times, he would hold himself back and not actually go and try to close the show, though he had complete control. Not using all the tools in his tool belt. That was Shakur's problem. But it helped bleed into the conversation of the brothers are runner. If the top of the top do this and they win, people coming up from under them see that as a viable way to win. And they copy. Just like they copied Floyd in the shoulder roll. Everybody does the shoulder roll now. Everybody does the shoulder roll. And it's because Floyd Mayweather made it, for the next generation, incredibly popular and a means to success. You want to get to a title, this is how you do it. Use my skill. And now we see everybody doing it all across the land with incredibly volatile levels of success on both the highs and lows. But they follow it. If Devin Haney is able to win like this and we see, oh, I can survive against Canelo, and people are making arguments that Skull beat Canelo and he fought like that, then that shows me this is an actual way to win. And that's a problem. We don't want that. We don't. And so that's why we're trying to root it out. A lot of people, let's see, yeah, he clinched Ken Buster's lot and Ken Buster's won. Yes, he did. Let's see, Stabby, what's good with you? How you doing? Thanks for tuning into the show. Do you think Turkey is being racist targeting black American fighters and Cubans? This is not a racial thing. I think we touched on this before. And I think this will be the last thing, because after this, we're going to go into the next topic. Canelo doesn't have that second gear to chase down. We're going to talk about Canelo next. Right after this, we talk about Canelo next. But Stabby, perfect way to put a cap on this whole conversation. Turkey is not being racially antagonistic against a specific group or style of fighter, like black fighter, like Cuban fighter, Dominican. He's not being racist in that regard, because this is not about a group of people who fight like this. It's about a mentality. This is not about the styles that you fight. It is about the mentality at which you fight that style. When he's talking about fighting with pride, he's not talking about you're just trying to, if you don't leave without blood, you didn't get into a fight. That's not what he's saying, I don't believe. That's not what I'm saying. I'll put myself in the picture. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that what Turkey, what me, what people like Showbiz and other fans, commentators, pundits around the world are trying to target, we are trying to target the root cause of boring fights from a lack of engagement. We're not talking about not being slick. We want slick fighters. We want people that can hit and not get hit. We want people that can swim without getting wet. We want people that are able to go through and box you, outclass you, not just beat you up. We want people that can put on elegance and grace inside of the ring. We don't laud Willie Pett for nothing. We don't laud Napoleon Loche for nothing. We don't praise Pernell Whitaker for nothing. James Toney for nothing. Floyd Mayweather. We don't hold these people in high regard. Caleb Plant. We don't hold these people in high regard from the standpoint of, oh yeah, no, they're great to watch. They're great fighters. Not saying Caleb Plant is on those other legends level, but in terms of in the boat of they are slick. They use their feet. They box very technically. They're slipping and moving. They got distance. They're keeping you away while still being able to score. We don't disrespect all that. We love that. We love that. The Cuban style, we love it. American style, we love it. The issue is when the mentality that you take with your fighting style can both maximize it and diminish it. Diminishing is when it turns into a situation where you are doing, again, a Skull or a Haney. When you're just not trying to fight. It is not about the stylistic nature of we got to stop one way or another. We got to stop this group of people from fighting a certain way because they are ruining the sport. This goes beyond just a one race or ethnicity or stylistic background of people. This is not about that at all. It's never been about that. It's been about making sure that we kill this problem in the bud regardless of opposition. Because again, I just brought up Paul Butler. Paul Butler's what, British? A white British brother? Maybe it might have been Irish. I'm not sure. Some ethnicity that ain't black or Hispanic or American. From terms of where he's from. And in a way, had to chase that brother down for 11 rounds because he did not want to fight. That is a problem. It ended in a knockout. So we all forget it. But he ran. He ran. Anybody can back me up on this. If you remember that fight, Paul Butler ran. He ran. He ran for the entirety of the fight and did not try to engage. That was a problem. In fact, I even think I called that fight, or at least I talked about the fight the day afterwards, and I said, hey, buddy, this man, he didn't want to be there. Inoue was dominating, absolutely. Everything I said about Inoue, the dominating presence, the aura, the conqueror's hockey that makes you forget everything that you are, all of that was still true. Nothing was compromised on Inoue's part. But Paul Butler did not want to fight. And that's not a black fighter. That was in lieu of becoming an undisputed champion. That was a championship fight. Paul Butler, I believe, was the champion. Or at least he was challenging. And he did not even try to fight Inoue. What else is that was a problem then. This is not about race or one specific style. It's about a mentality. It is about a mindset. We got to make it so that there is no longer room to be able to have those types of performances as a gateway to being able to have any level of success. The unwillingness to make a fight out of anything. The willingness to only survive as your main goal. The willingness to try to skirt around actually facing what's coming back at you. You can do that and box sublimely. Floyd Mayweather did it. That's the primest example. And not you all, but when I say you all, I mean many fans say that Floyd is the greatest ever. He's undefeated. Nobody could touch him. And that's great boxing. Now you saying that, it's running. Or if a lot of people are saying, it's running. Or there's some compromised issues. Or some crossing of the wires in the interpretation of what is and that isn't actually boxing. But Floyd Mayweather boxed all the time. All the time. When we look at this, Floyd is a prime example of what we want in the sport from the standpoint of stylistically, how you approach a fight, how you go about fighting. And he still is hit and not get hit. One of the greatest examples of that ever. But again, emphasis, hit. Hit and not get hit. You still have to punch. And to not get hit, and to do both, you gotta be in the midst to be able to actually catch and counter. Capitalize. Floyd did that all the time. But when it comes to these specific examples, that within the last couple of years have been more and more apparent, this is not what we mean when we want the sweet science. Something sweet has to come behind the science. The sweet part is actually hitting the butter. The science part is not getting hit. But if you are too scared to get hit, you can't really do that full equation, can you? If you don't want to actually get hit, but to the point that you don't even let yourself be in a position to do anything to capitalize on an opponent's mistake, that's not right. That's not boxing. That's a problem. There is a clear and present line of demarcation for what is and isn't running versus boxing. That you all, as smart as you all are, have continued to push or say in the chat, and I'm saying this in a good way, this community, every time we talk about legendary boxers or whatever, we bring up names that are indeed all the time fitting the mold of what a boxer is supposed to be, regardless of what it means stylistically. What they represent and how they fought, nobody questions it. Because every name that we always bring up on this show, that you all always bring up in whether it's in passing, whether it's in other conversations, all of them fought. They still did the sweet science, but they did it like it's supposed to be. And the styles varied greatly across the board. That's what we mean when we say we want boxing and not running. That's what Turkey wants to get out of the sport. We don't want running. The lack of showing your best with your style because you do not want to get hit to the point that you take away the level of engagement to emphasize or to put on paper the sweet science formula that we know this sport has been built on. We don't want that. Hence, that's why we got to root out this now. So it's not about race or creed or ethnicity or style. It's a mentality. It's a mentality. And putting a stopgap so we make sure nobody even thinks of these types of performances, like Skull or Haney, as a real means to actually get victory. Or if they can just say that I survived and that's enough, and that's their moral ground for winning, that is not something that we want in the sport, because that can lead to a lot more problems. It can. It can, because that can lead to people thinking differently and fighting and adapting their style of fighting for the worse. And it harms us, the fans. And it harms the fighters and their legacy. And so we don't want that at all. But let me see. We still got people commenting. Adam, yo, what's good with that? How you doing? Thanks for tuning into the show. Appreciate it so much. Turkey shouldn't have mentioned Crawford with the running. If he knew anything about Crawford, he would actually know he ain't fighting Canelo to run. I don't think, did he mention, hold on, wait a minute. Did he mention Crawford? Let me make sure. You might have seen a different tweet or a different post. Nope, that's not it. Yeah, I got the post up right now. I don't see anything about Crawford here in this tweet. I don't think he called him out about that. Let me go through his Twitter. Actually, let me make sure that he ain't say nothing all of a sudden new that is going through. Let me see. Okay. So, this is who he wants on the undercard. Okay, we can talk about this later. Unless y'all want to talk about this now. But he's going through who he wants on the undercard for the Canelo fight as he's building the card for September 13th. I am still going through trying to see if there's anything that he said specifically about Crawford, because I didn't see any news on that. Let me see. The world is going to be watching Riyadh season youth boxing. Okay. So we just saw that tweet. Yeah, I didn't see. I don't. Again, you got to see something different. I didn't see anything about Turkey saying anything about Crawford specifically. If anybody has that quote or has anything that he did say, let me know, please, and I can bring it up and pull it up on here, and we can discuss that further. Let me keep on reading so we can make sure. I'll admit Shakur versus De Los Santos fight was the worst I've seen. Yep, absolutely. I got to get better at reading these chats because I don't want to leave anybody out. Hold on, wait. Then it should be fine for running. I might have already addressed this. I'm not sure. I'd rather see both competitors fight intermediate to the inside range, but that's not boxing, is it? No, it is still boxing. Inside, mid-range, outside, all can be boxing. Boxing. The issue is, boxing is not about the range as much as it is you still have to. Boxing is still a fight. Boxing is still a fight. Running, if we call you running, one side of the aisle is not trying to fight. It's not that one side is hard to catch and he's outboxing. It's not that one side is using his jab and the other person just can't get into it with him. It's not like Jermaine Ortiz. We're not talking about Sandor Martin. We're not talking about Sugar John. All of those fights were instances of somebody boxing on the back foot, making you have to come and catch him, but beating you, genuinely beating you, because you were indeed not able to adapt to their movement, to their slickness, to their countering, and to their offense off the back foot while you're trying to close the distance. That is not what we're saying when it comes to, that's what we mean by boxing. Roberto Duran was a Hall of Fame boxer. He fought on the inside. Sugar Ray Leonard was a great boxer. Mid-range to inside. And could fight on the outside. Ali, the greatest. He fought on the outside. Phenomenal boxer. Joe Frazier, inside warrior. Boxed on the inside. Manny Pacquiao just got into the Hall of Fame. Phenomenal boxer. That explosion from long range to close range he would always do. And that mid-range level that he would somehow always win, even though he was smaller on most accounts for fighting. Great boxing. All of them had different unique styles, but all of them were indeed boxing. It's not about the range. It's about, again, the mentality. We witness the difference because we keep bringing up different examples. We keep bringing up the specific examples of exactly what the problem is. You all keep bringing up De Los Santos. You all, Jay Will brought up, Jay Will brought up, what's that? Where is it? Hold on. I'm gonna find it. Jay Will, you brought up a great point. Come on now. It's here somewhere. Jay Will brought up Vigo versus Casemiro. We're bringing up specific examples of the problem that we're talking about. So we recognize what the issue is versus what's not the issue. Jay Will brought up Bevo, as Bevo shouldn't be seen in that conversation for when we talk about running, because Bevo is not a runner. Hence, we don't call him that. We bring up examples of people that are doing it. It's just that those people are big, and because those people are big names that are doing pinpoint examples of running that we don't want to see. And because it happens so immediately back to back to back, we have to understand that now, okay, let's kill this issue so we get back to boxing. Not whatever that was. Boxing. Genuine boxing. Inside, outside, mid-range, back foot, front foot, slipping, ducking, countering. All that. Trading. All that. Perfectly fine. But that's boxing. Justice Hooney versus Wardley, that was boxing, was it not? And we watched it. Jujo Nakatani, that brother tried to blow Nashida out the water, but that was still boxing. We recognize the examples and we know what the difference is. And so, and like again, having a preferred range of where you like to fight is no problem. But all three are viable ranges that you can box somebody in or box each other with. But you not wanting to engage or willingly trying to throw it in or actively not fight on your end of the spectrum just to get through the fight. That's what we don't like. That's the thing. And so I feel like Gervonta and Pick running rematch was scheduled to be soon. The date that we had. Now, who was Pick? I'm trying to think who was Pick. I know Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach is getting ready to come up, I believe, this month or next month. Because that fight is drawing ever so close. But I don't know who this. I'm trying to think of who this is. I feel like Gervonta and Pick running rematch was scheduled to be sooner than the date that we have. If you're talking about Roach, I think Roach is. Let me make sure I got that right. Lamont Roach. Hold on. Lamont Roach is. When's that rematch? Tank versus Roach rematch. Just quickly answering a question real quick. August. Okay, so it's in August. Excuse me. So, was it June? Yeah, 2 months from now. August. That's when that fight's happening. So yeah, that's when that fight is scheduled. If you're talking about Tank versus Roach. If you're talking about somebody else, I am not sure. So if you can't clarify with me. Should a fighter be able to win a fight with the jab? Yes. Klitschko did it. Lennox Lewis did it. Floyd did it. Tyson Fury's done it. Shakur's done it. Devin Haney's done it. You can winning your fights off a jab is phenomenal. Jamal Charlo has done it for the majority of his career. Yeah, just with the jab. We've seen multiple instances of boxers with just their jab win a fight. Absolutely. Ali did it every fight. Off his jab, he would beat opponents. And he would follow it up then with other combinations that were great, but it was built off the jab. Sonny Liston had one of the best jabs in boxing history. No question. One of the most destructive, menacing, dangerous, mythical figures in the sport. He's the buddy that helped mentor and train George Foreman. Sonny Liston. And Liston had one of the greatest jabs that boxing has ever seen. Ricardo Lopez had a ghost jab. Another one of the greatest jabs that boxing's ever seen, where it came so untelegraphed, but yet still had so much pop, and it was so unpredictable that he would beat you with it without any hesitation. Roy Jones Jr. used his backhand as a jab. His power hand, he would use that as a jab in orthodox because he was just that good. The jab is winning it off the jab is great. That's phenomenal. That's incredible. If you can win a fight off the jab, that's one of the biggest masteries in the sport that you can have on under your belt. Because now you're using the most essential and yet basic punch in the sport at a mastery that only few have ever seen in boxing history. So no, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. No follow-up, nothing, no follow-up punches, nothing behind it. I'm saying all 12 rounds, a fighter just uses his jab. I have seen, now again, just by the nature of a fight, that by the nature of just what a fight is in boxing, that hasn't happened until somebody threw 800 punches or somebody threw 400 punches and all 400 punches were nothing but jabs. By the nature of the fight, that just doesn't work, or that it just doesn't happen. It's never happened. But I have seen somebody land upwards of 150 jabs and win a fight, and they threw 300 punches. So half of their offense was just off the jab alone. And that's how they won. And it was like, yeah, he dominated. You couldn't get around it. Winning off the jab isn't just, this is the only punch that you use, but it's your most dominant punch for that fight. And you're able to control everything with it. And there's nothing that the opponent can do or was able to do in that fight to get away from it, to stop it, or to circumvent an avenue around it. It takes something special to be able to do that. Absolutely. But we've seen people win off their jab before. Tyson Fury's done it multiple times in his career. Because of his length and size, he's been able to win strictly off the jab. That would help set up the knockout, or set up the damaging punishment, or set up the other offensive tactics that he would use, or even help set up defensive slips. Use a jab, angle out, then jab with you again, and boom, land that big right hand. Recircle and reset. So it's like, it's great. Let's see. Okay. Well, we're just curious your perspective. So yeah, no. So you're not gonna see somebody win. You're not gonna see somebody use if somebody only used their jab and not one other punch with the entire. If they only use their left hand. If I ever see somebody only use their left hand for the entirety of a fight and win by just having that jab, no hook, no uppercut, no backhand or power punch in any way. They only use a jab for the entirety of a 12-round fight, and they win, and nothing else. That would be one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. As in, like, no other punch was thrown. No other punch was thrown except for a jab. I don't think I've ever seen that. I don't think I've ever seen that. If I ever do, oh my gosh, shoot. That's insane. That was, oh, shoot. That's outclassing on a different level if that ever happens. But when Shakur did against De Los Santos, Shakur used his jab for almost the entirety of the fight because that was his other hand was broken. Or he broke his hand in that fight. Genuinely he did. But even still, he still threw hooks. It wasn't a lot, but he still threw some hooks and he still threw some uppercuts. But he won the fight. He did win the fight off of predominantly using that jab. And more so in this case scenario, because he was injured, pot-shotting, getting out the way, and making sure that De Los Santos wasn't able to get him. It was still a horrible fight because he genuinely had to run because he could not use both his hands. He couldn't. Genuine. That was the context behind that fight. It was still a bad fight. But he still, off of the jab and his footwork to make it so that he was able to run away, he won that fight with only the jab as his most dominant punch. He still threw others, but that was the most dominant punch. And he did win. Yes. But again, that is a bad example of being able to control somebody by using your jab. If you look at Jamal Charlo, he has great examples. Ali, phenomenal examples of using his jab to control and win a fight outright. Again, if you want to look at destructive natures of jabs that control the fights, look at Sonny Liston. Look at I think the early not really George Foreman, because he would just blow through you with the greatest of ease, just with outright power. And so, but early days of Devin Haney versus Kambosos, 1 or 2, more likely 2, a phenomenal example of it. And mind you, Devin Haney's the biggest poster child for this whole conversation and problem. But here's a great example of what is indeed not, or what was a great use of being able to win a fight with only your jab alone as your most dominant punch in the fight. Most of his offense and most of his career, he's been winning off of the jab as his main source of scoring and controlling. So it's absolutely, it's many people that have done it before. Floyd did it countless occasions, countless times. And so using jab is great. We love it. And it's happened multiple times before. That is different again. That's completely different. That falls into the boxing tier. That is not in the running tier. If you're able to just use your jab and win it, that's phenomenal. There is a clear line, and the last thing, this is just sum it up. This whole conversation helps us show more. It's a clear line demarcation between running and boxing. A very clear line. That we all consistently are able to recognize. We are just trying to we are not trying to go and chastise one race or group of people or fighting style over another. What we are trying to do is nip this mentality issue for anybody in the bud and stop it at its root before it transcends into other people. Looking at that type of running, genuine running, avoiding engagement type boxing style as a means to go and win a fight. To do oh so much, just survive. Oh, I can win by doing just enough. That's not what we want. Or they're content with just making it through without actually trying to do anything to at least face up against the opposition or offense or danger that comes back at them. Either with their feet and hands in combination. That's all we're saying. There is a difference, and I think you all do recognize it. But again, we still have a lot to cover. I did not want to stay on that topic that long, but it was great hearing you all have your opinions. Absolutely, we still want this. We still, y'all's show, so we still let it do what it do and let it rock. Absolutely. But now, we're going to what everybody else wanted to talk about, which was Canelo versus Crawford and that fight. Now, having more conversation with Canelo, and specifically, some conversation when it comes to power. And do we think that we're going to see Crawford in trouble be really predominantly because of that power standpoint? And I asked this question specifically because I think like a week or a couple days ago, I had come on here talking about how Crawford might be stronger than we realize on the night of the fight. Because the size difference, muscle mass, as well as height-wise, it's not nearly as egregious in distance as I thought it was going to be. So I was thinking maybe we can see Crawford have a sense of better opposition going against the likes of Canelo that we may have not given him the benefit of the doubt for when it came to physical prowess. However, now, I didn't realize something as well that needed to be touched on. I think somebody else touched on it before me. Some other creator touched on it. What was his name? Somebody touched on it before that opened my eyes to the sentiment. Crawford has never faced somebody like this before from the standpoint of he cannot just physically dominate in almost any way, shape, or form. Almost assuredly. I think because again, Canelo versus Crawford power advantage, I don't think we've ever seen Crawford in this type of situation where even though like many people felt with the Spence fight, Spence was stronger than Crawford. Hence, Spence would be able to dominate Crawford and use his size and bludgeoning hooks to the body break him down and take him out. Didn't happen. Turns out Crawford was actually a lot stronger than Spence. And he showed it on that night. Oh my gosh. But this is a little bit different now. Though we know Crawford's one of the pound for pound most powerful fighters from a strength perspective in the world. Looking at it with Canelo now, this is the first time that I cannot say that I have confidence that Crawford will be able to get the power advantage over Canelo at any point in time. I'm talking about not just from punching power, from the clinch, from leverage, from being able to force Canelo to go where he wants him to go. I have never been in a situation, at least with Crawford's career, that I have said that is not an option for him to take advantage of in this fight. And let me see, Jason Radcliffe, you brought it the best. I love Bud, but I think he a bit more, I think he, in terms of Canelo, is a bit more than he can handle. Yeah. From the standpoint of physical prowess, because of the fact that one of the ways that that Crawford is able to dominate the way he does is that at some point in time in the fight, his physical prowess takes over his opponent at some point in time. Sean Porter, it happened in round 7. Errol Spence, it happened in round 2. And from there, he did whatever he wanted. Gamboa, it happened later on in the stages once he finally got full control of that fight. I believe, what was it, around 9 just about, I think. In Dongo, it happened in the mid rounds of the fight. Madrimov, it happened at rounds 10 and on. More so ramped up at round 8, but came to a crescendo in terms of physically, okay, yeah, I'm in control by rounds 10. We are saying that at every single fight that I've watched with Terrence Crawford, there's always been a pop the clutch moment, not just from switching gears and from a boxing perspective, elevating to another level that the opponent just can't reach, but from also physical prowess. There's been a clear-cut round or moment in time when we saw, okay, now Crawford's physicality is starting to take hold. His aggression, his power, his not just punch power, but physical power is now controlling what his opponent is able to do. Most recent example with Madrimov happened in round 10 when he started then not just taking the last 2 rounds, but then he started really walking down Madrimov and hurting him on the inside. Actually like catching him with short shots that didn't look clean to see. But on the replay, you saw, oh, wait a minute, he's actually landing some short straights, landing a short uppercut, short hook in the pocket, or rather on the inside with Madrimov, head to head, when Madrimov wasn't able to bounce anymore. And then boom, 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 backing him up, making him wince. We saw it. I don't know if we're going to get that with Canelo. We might not get that with Canelo. And that could bleed into a big aspect of why we might not see Crawford be able to win this fight. Because that moment is the point where I can say, okay, he's got him. That moment is one of the clearer indicators in the fight that Crawford's got him. He's got him. He got him. Again, perfect example. I just brought up Sean Porter to revisit that fight. Sean Porter went through and beat Crawford for about 7 rounds. Close and competitive, incredibly exciting. But it seemed like Sean Porter genuinely had his number. And maybe it was a 7 round straight, but it was like Porter was up. He was up. Porter was definitely up. And then when Bud heard, okay, I'm down, he immediately went and knocked that buddy down twice. Knocked him down twice. Immediately. And all of a sudden, the physical power on top of the 6th gear of boxing ability took hold. Without that physical power advantage, which is one of the clearest indicators of, okay, Crawford's now getting into his rhythm. Against Canelo, this could be a really bad thing. It could be incredibly bad. It could be so bad. And it's a scary thing. Because the power advantage that we normally see Crawford have on the whole of his entire career, it's not with this fight with Canelo. It's not. And that normal pop the clutch situation that is accompanied by the power of Crawford also showing through to helping also bolster that control. On top of the elevated skill that he just switches on by when he gets that sixth gear. He can still switch that sixth gear. Absolutely. He can still go to that next level. He can still go and elevate beyond the beyond. Ascend past the stratosphere for his talent. But the power might not come with him because it might not be able to be as effective. So it might not be a viable option. And so now, without that power, how effective is that sixth gear going to be once he does indeed pop the clutch and say, okay, it's time to go to work against Canelo? Because now that dictates how that sixth gear can be used. That dictates how effective that sixth gear can actually be. That changes the whole use of that sixth gear for Crawford. It's still there, but he can't use it the same potentially against Canelo because that power advantage is not on this side. And the power advantage is help what accompanies him to be able to use it in the way that he does. I'm not saying he can't adapt, but I'm saying he might have to adapt when he goes and elevates himself. And that's where things can get tricky because Canelo doesn't have to adapt his sixth gear shakeup. He doesn't have to change how he goes about when he elevates himself to that same sixth gear. He doesn't have to go and think about a new way to go and do something against Crawford because that sixth gear aspect of it can't be used anymore or is not as effective. So we can't drive the car the same way once it gets to that highest gear. Canelo doesn't have that problem. Crawford might have that problem on the night of the fight. In September, Crawford might have that issue. I'm not saying it's something he can't overcome, but I am saying, my gosh, it's something that can be a diabolical problem that he might run into on the night of the fight that could really show, oh man, he might not be able to win this. He might not. I'm not saying he can't. Be clear. I'm not saying Crawford can't do it. Pump the brakes now. I'm not being a hater. I'm not saying he can't do it. I know he still can. But the way that he normally does it, when he pops the clutch and elevates that sixth gear, because that power advantage that also accompanies that sixth gear mental shift is not going to be at the same effectiveness potentially against this fight with Canelo. He's got to drive the car differently. He's got to drive in sixth gear differently than he's done for his entire career. That may not be the way that he can win. If he's got to change the way that he drives once he gets to that highest gear than what he's done all this other time. Because now it's not effective. Or an aspect of that sixth gear is not as effective as it would be. So he's got to compensate for that with something else. He's got to compensate that for a different tactic. He's got to compensate. If I'm going to go get you, if I'm going to start elevating and starting to build a gap, start to either overtake you or further separate myself away from you, I got to do it in a different way now. And that can be a problem. That can be a problem. I'm not saying it's going to be. I'm just saying it can be. And it can be an interesting issue. But again, I want to hear from you all. How do you feel about this whole Canelo saga? Do you think that Canelo versus Crawford's taking on too much? Do you think that Crawford is going to be in a hole by the time this fight actually comes through? And everything that we're seeing, all the speculation, all this stuff, is just hyperbolic. And in all actuality, Crawford was indeed barking up the wrong tree, climbing higher than he actually should, going through and reaching beyond the stars. But he's going to land on the moon because he falls down from the jump. And again, it's not bad if he loses because he chased greatness. You do it, it's great. You lose, okay, you lost to Canelo. You lost moving up 2 straight weight classes without any tune-up at all. Hey, you challenged it. And you're the only buddy that we thought could actually do this type of feat against Canelo in this modern day and age in boxing. Understandable. Fine. It doesn't take anything away. But still, it's just got to be a winner or loser. Even if losing this fight isn't bad, there is still history on the line. And we want to make sure that we get the full scope of what this history could potentially be by going through the context of every single possible scenario. And that's a real scenario that Crawford just cannot, if that power advantage is truly on Canelo's side, like many people believe it is, there's going to be some real discrepancy. There's going to be some real trouble. There potentially can be some real ire on the side of Canelo Alvarez or of Terrence Crawford Street. But again, I want to hear from you all. Absolutely. What's your thoughts on this whole fight is going to be? Do you have any new perspectives on what this fight can be? Is there something that we aren't talking about that needs to be talked about when we look at the likes of Canelo versus Crawford? We can have that conversation absolutely later on at the end of the show when we do the championship rounds where you all can talk about whatever you want to discuss on this channel. Absolutely. We can go back to this conversation, no question about it. But we still have more to cover with what we got on the docket this week, like we teased in the title. Abdullah Mason is finally here, getting a shot at the title. Yes, sir. Oh, buddy. Oh, shoot. It's time. It's time. It's Vader time, or rather, it's Mason time. Because right now, Abdullah Mason finally got to go and get what has been coming to him, what's deserved for the longest time. And that's a title opportunity. That's right. This brother is now on the precipice of being called a world champion at 135 pounds after what we had seen was a dominating performance against Nakafila off the backs of Keyshawn Davis, missing weight. He took advantage of it, dominated the fight, got it called off because of a cut over the eye. And now we're witnessing this man be one win away from being undeniable and potentially starting a road to a dominant track at 135 that can potentially lead to Canelo. But let me gloat real quick. I told you it was going to happen. Did I not tell you it was going to happen? Hey, we got some problems. Because some of y'all didn't believe me. Some of y'all didn't believe me. I told you, after that fight over the weekend, don't be surprised if the next fight we see Abdullah Mason get is going to be for a world title. Don't be surprised. He is no longer a contender. He's no longer a prospect. He is championship material. And he, especially with the WBO, being in limbo. Now he's fighting for the title, for the vacant WBO title against, let me look up his opponent, because I know that they had it posted that he had gotten solidified as the fight going through. Let me pull up who his opponent is. Give me 1 second, give me 1 second, give me 1 second. Hold on. We still here. We just looking up who his opponent is. Yep, here we go, right here. Right here, for those of you just catching on to the news of what's going on with the show. Abdullah Mason is now officially going to be, is going to fight for the WBO title, vacant WBO title, against Sam, I think that's Notes. Sam Notes on, do they got a date? They don't have a date right now. But regardless of which, it's happening. It's here. And this brother most likely is going to walk through him. Oh, he's going to run through him. He's going to run through Sam Notes. He's going to destroy Sam Notes. We just had the breakout stardom for him against Nakafila in terms of, okay, main event, ESPN Plus, biggest eyes he's ever had on the sport on his specific fight as a headliner. And then bing, bang, boom. Now, immediately afterwards, he got a world title. Again, they got 20 days to agree to a deal. But it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And this will be, finally, the next big star in the sport is going to come through and come apparent and be a world champion that's going to help bolster not just this division, but put some pressure on a couple more people. He's going to put some pressure on Keyshawn Davis. Hey, let's not forget they had a back and forth. Let's not forget about that at all. Keyshawn and Abdullah had a back and forth now. And now, hey, brother, it's huge that this brother next is about to potentially become a champion and force his way into getting that fight with Keyshawn Davis, even though Keyshawn might just move up to 140. Who knows what's going to happen because he missed weight. And the whole drama going around right now with Keyshawn, brother might be suspended in a couple weeks. Who knows? what he did with jumping Albright and all that stuff. But even still, this man said 1 or 2 fights more and then we'll get it on. Though he did look kind of shook when Keyshawn faced him up head on. Winning this title could give that brother the oomph that he needs to get that. I don't want to call it a backbone because he does have a backbone, but that bravado that we want from Abdullah Mason, I don't want to call it cockiness, but that outright confidence to say, no, you ain't nothing. I got this now. See, a title will change some people. A title will change your demeanor for both good and bad. A title will change your perspective on what you are as a boxer in your own head and cause you to act differently. Look at Dubois. Look at Dubois, perfect example. This is what we can see from Abdullah Mason. This title could be the shift in mentality from the standpoint of how he approaches anybody going at him, including Keyshawn Davis, to make it so that now he walks around like, I'm that dude. I'm that guy. Not saying he doesn't already, but even more of a blatant standpoint. And it can do some wonders. Absolutely. Boy, hold on. We got people in the chat. Wait a minute. We got people in the chat right now. Yo, Antonio Sanchez. Is that Antonio? Yep, Antonio Sanchez. What's good with you? How you doing? Badger Wolf. Thanks for tuning into the show. Glad that you are here. This is a big deal. Yes, it is. Oh, it's a huge deal. No question about it. We're excited for this fight, and we can't wait to see what Abdullah does to potentially become a champion and really set his sights on the upper echelon of the division, like with Tank, like with Shakur. Oh, yeah. It's getting exciting up here in Division 135, between 135 and 140. No question. Let me see. Antonio Sanchez, Turkey bugging. It wouldn't be called boxing. Shaking my head, Turkey trying to make this sport like bare knuckle boxing. Bud better stick to the game plan and not stay in the pocket with Canelo. And again, Antonio, you brought up a great point. Now, we touched on this in the first half of the show. I can quickly give you a summary of what I think's going down. When Turkey, and I'll put myself in these shoes. I won't put him as the poster child. I'll put me for this conversation. Not saying I got more pull of power, but for the sake of, from what he said, this is what I feel he's trying to say. Not trying to be an apologist, but being real. We unbiased on the show. When he says that he doesn't want Tom and Jerry type fights, and again, I will bring up the post again, so we can have the full lecture, or rather the full I know. Yeah, here it is. So we can have the full look as to what exactly we're witnessing, or what we're saying. When he says he doesn't want any Tom and Jerry type fights, one fighter running around the ring, and the other one chasing him. We want to support fighters who leave it all in the ring with heart and pride. He and we are not talking about every fight needs to be Gotti Ward. We're not saying that. Because again, if that was the case, and he didn't want people to run and get away, or any sort of backing up, he would have chastised Bivol versus Artur Beterbiev. But that fight is one of the fights of the year. Both of those fights are some of the best fights of the year. Genuine. And it's building up to be one of the best trilogies that we've had in the modern day era in boxing. Of this current era in the boxing world. Because it is indeed great. And Bivol, for the first fight, was fighting on the back foot. Bivol was making Beterbiev have to move and catch him. Bivol was using footwork and being willing to fight on the outside. Yet still, we didn't call that bad boxing. We call that beautiful boxing. And we didn't ever call that running because it wasn't running. He is not saying that Crawford needs to stand in the pocket and go through like Sean Porter or Gotti Ward or like your doggone Joe Frazier. He didn't say that. He's not saying that. And neither am I. What I think he's saying, and more so what I'm saying, when we're talking about running in the sport, again, you can go back and we did a whole hour-plus conversation about it. A whole hour-plus conversation. So you can go back to the stream and look it up. But just in summary, we are saying that there is a difference in running and boxing. There's multiple ways to box, absolutely. But there is a clear and present way to run. We're bringing up the specific conversations like the Shakur fight with De Los Santos, like Devin Haney versus Ramirez, like Skull versus Canelo. Because they're the most recently burned things in our minds, and specifically Canelo versus Skull and David and Haney versus Ramirez happened back to back. Literally back to back. And now we as a community don't want that type of sentiment to go through and run rampant through the boxing world and have other people say, okay, I can get a bag. I don't have to actively engage in the slightest. Not box with the brother. I don't have to engage with the brother. And still make it out with the payday and potentially win the fight like Devin Haney did. Or at least get paid like William Skull did. And still not get put on a poster. We don't want that. That's not fighting with pride and heart. You can box on the outside. You can box on the inside. You can box in the mid-range. You can box as a brawler. You can box as a swarmer. You can box as a counterpuncher. We don't call Caleb Plant not a boxer. We don't call Bivol not a boxer. We don't call Floyd Mayweather not a boxer. And we ain't calling any of them runners. Never have. Because they're not runners. There's a clear line of demarcation that we recognize that is a problem. That with this specific situation, we don't want it to become a rampant issue. But that's not what everybody's doing. And that's not what we know that's not what Crawford's going to do. So that's not even a question. Because if he would have done that, he would have done it against Madrimov. Because of the power potential issues. But he didn't. If he would have done that, he would have done it against Spence. But he didn't. Because that's not how he fights. And even if he does box on the outside, he doesn't run when he boxes. There's a clear line of demarcation. There are clear examples of what is and is not boxing. Clear and present examples. Clear and present careers of what is and is not boxing. Especially when using your feet. Clear and present. So that's what he's talking about. We don't want the mentality of fighters to be like, I don't have to go and engage with you. Because boxing's still a fight. You still got to hit somebody and not get hit. The sweet science, you got to hit. The sweet is hitting somebody. The science is swimming without getting wet. Avoiding what comes back at you. And then hitting them again. If you don't hit and you just move without any sort of offense, what we call running. And that's the problem. We don't want that. Let's see. I forgot to hit the like button. Oh yeah. Hey, don't forget, hit the like on the stream if you're here. If you like what you're hearing. If you're engaged in the conversation. If you want to see this show grow more and more. Hey, hit the like on the stream. Keep on commenting your thoughts and opinions. Keep on sharing the show with everybody that you can. Subscribe to the channel. Please do, because we are having a whole bunch of slew and litanies of conversations that the sports world has to offer. And we love it, and we love doing it with you all. No question about it. And also, if you haven't already, hit the notification bell and subscribe to the channel so you know exactly what goes on here on the show every single time we post. We're here Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. We have another show tomorrow. Fan-driven show tomorrow. Dedicated to you all driving the whole force of what we got for the agenda for the day. Also, if you want to support the channel and you like what you're hearing, hey, we got means, Cash App, PayPal, and if you want to send it through links in the description, you can do that too. We ain't got super chats yet because we ain't got no watch time. We getting there. We growing. We thriving. We moving. We grooving. But we just ain't there just yet. So once we get super chats, we can change the way that we do supporting the channel. But either way, if you want to give something, support the show, hey, means to do it to help us out and engage, and we appreciate it oh so much. And tell us in the chat if you give us something to help me better keep track of when somebody does and doesn't send something, so we can acknowledge you, because we don't want to run it by and not give it to you. Sometimes the docs don't refresh as needed, so we got to make do what we can do. So please, if you do give something, let us know, and so we can give you your support and give you your love and acknowledge you in the channel, absolutely. But with all that being said, we still got more show to do. In fact, I think we can go into outright the championship rounds for this show, because I think we've covered most of the big stuff, and we got time that we can ebb and flow through the rest of the conversations with the sports world. So, actually, no, before we get to the championship rounds, you know, might as well. Let's do it. Let's do it either way. We might as well. Let's go on and do it. Hey, it's the championship rounds. It's time to book it, time to groove. We might as well. We can do it a little bit earlier today. We still got stuff on the docket, but we can do it a little bit earlier. Whatever you want to talk about, it's time to shine. Make your voice be heard. We can go back up through the docket of whatever we discussed for Canelo and Crawford, for Abdullah Mason, for running and boxing, your opinions on Turki Al-Sheikh. All of that and so much more we can discuss right here and now, on top of so many other things in the sport of just the sports world. We'll talk about the NBA. We'll talk about the NFL. All that stuff. We can do what we do best. It's great. It's all well and good. And we're going to make it do what it do and have your voice be heard right now. 30 minutes to an hour. Make the show your own. We're going to still have topics that we can delve into while you're getting your questions together. But please, it's your time to shine and make it do what they do best. Let me see. Pacers 2-1. What are your thoughts? Well, Lord have mercy. Oh, Lord. Ah, shoot. Hey, man. Well, my prediction's wrong. I said OKC in 5. Butler, it might just be OKC in 7. And they done took game 2 and Halliburton played up to the level. What was it? It was what, 22? Was it 22, 8, 9? Or like 20-something, 9 and 11 for the game? Pacers, again, go on another big run. Everybody contributing. And now we are in the meat and potatoes of a real dilemma with OKC now. You came out and you did what I thought was going to happen. You punched the Pacers back in the mouth and showed them what you're really about. When you dominated them 123-107 in game 2. Wasn't even a fight. Now, however, this time, but this is why Rick Carlisle is one of the best coaches in the NBA right now. This brother made some adjustments. This brother got the offense even more confusing for OKC to be able to keep up with. And now Halliburton, along with his crew, is hitting shots. See, the biggest thing about it is that this team can win with Halliburton playing bad offensively. But if he's still controlling the pace of the show, they can still come back because they got the pieces. But if it's that Halliburton's playing well, on top of what the Pacers already always bring, now you're in a real dilemma. Now you're in a real dangerous situation. Now,
hey, look at us. We got some problems here.
Now you got problems.
We got some problems here.
Now you got some issues. Now you got some real concerning aspirations for your actual shots at the title. And now they're leading again in this series. And this team now, it's getting scary. It's getting scary. This team might just win this title. I'm so serious. This team might just win the title. This team might just win the title. They might just win the title for all intents and purposes. The shock and all that I thought words I never thought I would utter. The Indiana Pacers, led by Tyrese Halliburton, may just win this finals. And it's not looking like it's so far-fetched. Because they continue to do everything that we keep seeing them do throughout the regular season, throughout the playoffs, and now in the finals against objectively the best team in the NBA. Oh gosh, man. It's such a demoralizing feeling that you just can't get rid of them. That's the issue. You just can't get rid of them. SGA got to put up 40 to win. At this point, I mean, he put up 40 to game 1 and he lost. And so it's like even 40 isn't enough to guarantee you a victory against this squad. It's incredible. My gosh, I can't wait for game 4. Because if we see Pacers take a 3-1 lead against this OKC squad, I might just have to change my pick. If we see the Pacers win the next game, I'm going to change my pick. Not just because they're on the cusp, but now because I don't think OKC is experienced. Well, I don't even want to say experienced. Something about this series is giving me just a gut feeling that OKC cannot afford to go down 3-1. 3-2, understandable. But you lose back-to-back games against this Pacers squad, I'm scared that this OKC team might just get gentlemen swept in their own right. I promise you. Game 4 is going to be one of the most important games for this young core's career. I promise you. It's going to be one of the most important games for this young core's career. And it might dictate whether or not this team is actually able to win this series at all. It's that dire right now because of the team that we're dealing with. Let me see. Let's say the Pacers win. What do you think Rick Carlisle run be better than the Mavs? Or do you think Rick Carlisle's run is better on the Mavericks or on the Pacers? I think that Pacers run is better. The Mavericks run is better. I think that Mavericks run is still going to be better. Because you got to understand, on the Mavericks, this brother ran through Kobe. In fact, let me look at it real quick. As I'm getting, again, Al Booger, I scrolled down too quickly. I saw your chat. I'm getting ready to read it. But let me, real quick. let me go through who the Mavericks played off against in 2011. They beat the Thunder with KD, Harden, Westbrook, Ibaka, Steven Adams. Young Thunder, but still with Kevin Durant and Westbrook. Beat them. They swept the defending champs, Los Angeles Lakers. They swept Kobe and Pau Gasol. Brother, they swept Kobe and Pau Gasol. With Kobe still in his prime. Just coming off of a title. They beat Portland in 6 games. And I believe Portland had who was it that Portland had? Was that still with the days of Brandon Roy, or was that with the early days of Damian Lillard and LaMarcus Aldridge? Let me look it up real quick so we can get the proper names for the series. Hold on a minute. Hold on a second. I'm looking through it. Hold on. I'm pulling up. So so this was Aldridge, who was an all-star. Nick Batum, who was still actually good. Rudy Fernandez, who was underrated scorer. Early days of Patty Mills. Brandon Roy, yeah. So they beat the Portland Trailblazers with Brandon Roy, defensive stopper Gerald Wallace, and LaMarcus Aldridge. Brandon Roy and Aldridge as the 2 best players on the team, 2 all-stars outright. They beat OKC with Westbrook, KD, and Harden. They then beat LA, swept LA, who just come off a title with Kobe and Pau Gasol, and still the core of their championship team still intact. And then they beat Miami 4-2 with LeBron and Wade and Bosh, who seemed like there was no way they could win, or there's no way they could lose. I think that's more impressive than this. I think that's more impressive than what we saw with the likes of this run. But this would still be one of the most impressive runs that we've seen. It would be. This will be the second most impressive run that Rick Carlisle has had in his career, which is saying something. That's saying something. Because if 2011 didn't happen, this would be the most impressive run. Absolutely. It's still one of the most impressive runs that we've seen ever in NBA basketball in recent memory. Genuine. And this is the greatest Pacers run I think we've ever seen, even with the likes of the Pacers getting to the finals. Or nearly getting there with Reggie Miller. I think they got there or nearly got there 1-2 with Reggie Miller. But let me see. Let me keep on reading what you got to say. Forget Super Chat with all due respect. YouTube takes 50 to 60% of that bread. Cash App all day. Hey, look, you ain't lying. Now, I will say, I will say, let's see. Every night it can be a different brother from Indiana. Yeah, no, you're right. It can be. Arbeck, Phil, Pop, Riley, Steve Kerr are the best 5 coaches ever. Rick Carlisle probably should be the 6th. I mean, with a constant level of success, I believe he's 10th all time in coaching wins. This would be his 2nd title on another team that many people felt should not have gotten this far. It's definitely a conversation. He's top 10, no question. Top 5, a title win might just put him in that threshold. A title win might he might be above Arbeck. He might get above Arbeck if he wins this title. If he does, he might. It's not out of the question. It's a hard conversation, but it's not going to be out of the question at all if we get to that point. But let me see now for whatchamacallit, Al Booger, Super Chats. You're right. They take a percentage of the bread, no question. However, the ease at which people can give makes it so that you get more abundance of stuff. So even if they're taking, now I thought it was more like 30 or 40, whatever the case may be. Even with them taking a percentage of that money, still, because of the ease at which people can give, and it's just right there. The ease, I forget what it's called in marketing, but that could potentially lead to more money coming into the channel because it's a lot easier for people to get not just their chats heard, but to get the icons, to get the stickers, to get the highlights on the screen and all that stuff. Some people, if they want to, and we can, if we want to, we can turn this into a club battle. We can turn this into a club battle, and we got people trying to outgive each other. Hey, all well and good. Let's make it happen. Let's get some competition going. But all of that is strictly by it being right on the side of the screen. And so the super chats help make more people more easily inclined to want to give, because it's a lot easier and you can do a lot more stuff with what people do when they give their stuff. So you can make emojis, you can make certain stuff pop up. You can do all that stuff with super chats. So it helps incentivize them to, I want to see what happens next. We love it. Can't wait to see it. I'ma still have this. I'm still gonna be able to keep my 100%. So this means, however, it ain't gonna hurt. It ain't gonna hurt to have the super chats as another means of access that people might want to go through as well in their own way. But hey, we just said about anything will be accepted. We're just taking anything that we can at this point and making the best of it. That's all we're doing. And so, hey, if you want to give me some more and let me keep all the revenue, go through it right here. But again, give what you can. We ain't forcing you. We ain't pumping and priming. It's my job. This is what I do. But at the same time, we ain't trying to shake you down to get something to happen. So we do what we do best. And we just make sure the best as it can be. So everybody feels that they deserve to get the money that they want or give what they feel should be given. Absolutely. We ain't going to pump and prime nobody. We're going to make it worth your while. Absolutely. But again, we still got some time. We still got roughly 15 minutes on the show. Unless people just stop commenting. Is there anything else you all want to discuss in this whole diatribe, whole show? We can go back up the rung of the ladder. We can talk about Abdullah Mason a little bit more. We can talk about Abdullah versus Tank, what that fight would be like. Would that fight even happen? That's a real good question. Would that fight even take place if we got close to it? Because let's understand, and we're probably going to talk about this more tomorrow. If we do see that Abdullah Mason wins the title, now he's firmly in the mix of a champion. He is a champion. He's one of the 4 best guys in the division. And Tank's still at 135. We have to look at it and say, yo, Tank, what are you going to do if he wins the title? What are you going to do if he does indeed come through and win a championship? And now he's one of the people that you got to go and run through to get a title at minimum. Or go after real quality names more consistently on your resume. He's one of them. And he's still so young. Does he fit the mold for what Tank would want to do? Would Tank be seen as avoiding competition if he didn't fight Abdullah Mason after Abdullah got a title? Because we talk about ducking a bunch of times on this show. We just talked about ducking with Teofimo Lopez as well. We need to also understand what is going to be the line of what is going to be acceptable for Tank to do after the fight with Lamont Roach. That's where all of this really boils down to. And it's going to be a big, again, we're going to talk about this more tomorrow. Absolutely, we're going to talk about this more tomorrow. But it's a conversation. What's going to be acceptable for what Tank can do after Lamont? What's going to be, what's the line? In you all's estimation. I'm not trying to bring just Tank into everything, but with Abdullah Mason, it's the natural flow of progression. Because now Abdullah's in the same breath as Keyshawn Davis, potentially, unless Keyshawn moves up to 140, which most likely he will, with Shakur Stevenson, and with Tank Davis. He is in that threshold now, fully. He gets a title. Now he's one of the top guys amongst that conversation. So what is it now that is going to be acceptable for Tank to be able to do or not to do after Lamont? Because he's got two trains coming at him right now, getting ready to hit him in the middle of the track. He's got Shakur, if Shakur beats William Cepeda. And then afterwards, Turki says he's going to make the fight with Tank Davis. So he's got Shakur on one end of the track coming down. Now he's got Abdullah Mason, who not only just stole the shine from Keyshawn Davis, but now has immediately got put into a title opportunity directly after that fight, and he can be a champion. He's coming down this side of the track. And so now they're both on the collision course with Tank right here. And next thing you know, they're going to clash. They're going to hit. They're going to they're going to bang with Tank. What is it that Tank... It seems like it's something that should be unavoidable for the likes of Gervonta Davis. He's got to fight one of them. But at what point are we going to... Or excuse me. But what if he skirts by it again? Then what? Is he going to pick... Would he pick the lesser of two evils and take Abdullah Mason in terms of seen as even though he's still a big threat for him, a competitive threat that maybe just isn't as experienced or not looked at in the same vein as Shakur from the standpoint of a boxing talent? You take Abdullah Mason, okay, fine. But you fought a champion. And it's something that Tank does not do. You fight Shakur Stevenson, well, now you're fighting one of the best, from a talent perspective, one of the top 10 fighters in the world. One of the best pure boxers in the game. That is on your level of a IQ technical what's savant? That's the word. Savant. What are you gonna do then? If he skirts by both of them, who's he gonna go after at that point? Tank or it's gonna be Tio? We already covered what I feel about what's gonna happen with Tio, which is most likely nothing. Because again, Tio is of that ilk that he will not fight somebody who's as accomplished as him. He won't. And we had somebody coming in the chat or comment on one of the video or one of my shorts yesterday talking about Tank has, what do you mean Tank doesn't have killers on his resume? He does up until a point. Santa Cruz, Pedraza, Frank Martin, Ryan Garcia. I'm not dispatching those names. They're good names. Santa Cruz got brought up in weight though, a couple weight classes to fight Tank. We don't hold that against it as much, but it's still context. He brought Leo Santa Cruz up. He did not want to fight Pedraza and felt that Floyd Mayweather was trying to set him up for failure just by going and fighting for a title, which he was deservingly should have gotten an opportunity for against Pedraza. But he felt, oh, it's too soon, when it wasn't. Tank felt that. Tank felt that Floyd was setting him up for failure trying to fight Pedraza when Tank was ready to fight Pedraza. So he didn't even want that fight. Ryan Garcia, he goes through and fights him, but it's weight drain, catch weight, and rehydration clause. And he had broken ribs on the night of the fight. He still knocked him out. Frank Martin is Frank Martin. Good fighter. You knocked him out. Should have set you up for bigger fights down the line. And then nothing. Afterwards, nothing. You fought. You didn't do anything after that. If anything, this fight with Lamont Welch is the fight that we thought the other elites that we wanted you to see was getting. But this was a cherry pick. But because it was a cherry pick, it went wrong. And you, as Tank, we're going after Jake Paul after this. So there are 4 distinct roads of this way that this can go down. We can see Tank fight. We can see Tank fight Shakur if Shakur beats Cepeda. Road 1. We can see Tank fight Mason if Mason wins the title. Road 2. We can see Tank fight Tio if Tio does indeed sign with the PBC and come back down to 135. Because Tank ain't coming up to 140. Come back down to 135 and fight him. That's road 3. Or Jake Paul. If Jake Paul beats Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. and Lamont Welch and Tank beats Lamont Welch, he can fight Jake Paul. The most likely thing right now I see is him fighting Jake Paul. It's scary. It is indeed scary. But of those 3 roads, 3 of them are actual people that can do him in. I don't have any confidence that he's going to take those fights that would actually be great for him. Push him, test him, try him after the Lamont Welch fight. I don't. If you do, shed some light with me, because I don't see it at all. But let me see. RL, what's going on with this? How you doing? Thanks for tuning into the show. We appreciate you coming in. We're on the championship rounds. We're getting ready to get out of here. We got about 10 minutes left. I want to hear your comments on whatever you want to discuss for the last 10 minutes of the show, because we are in the championship rounds. You want to go back to something we already talked about? You want to bring a new topic of conversation? We can do it right here, right now, with you all on the show at this point in time. It's been a great show, been a phenomenal show. We got some money. Hey, Jay Will done supported the channel with $5. So yes, sir. So if you want to follow up, if you want to beat him, again, we can turn this into a club battle. Can you outgive him? Can you outdo him? Let's make it happen already. Just being funny. But yeah, we can make it do what it do. But let me see what you all have to say. Let's see. I like that you keep it real across the board. You got an underrated channel. But hey, man, we just do what we do best. We this whole show is predicated on trying to be real, unbiased, fair, and as objective as we can, regardless of what I feel about a multitude of things. We got to look at this from a real perspective. The best way you can be a better fan, regardless of how you may feel on any sort of topic or fighter, is if you get at least a uncut baseline for what is actually up. For what's actually going on, what the actual deal is, at least to the best of my ability. Because that's what y'all deserve. Y'all deserve quality. We can do hot takes, sure. We can do predictions, absolutely. There's no problem with it. But you deserve a real, fine-tuned description to the best of my ability of what's going down in the boxing world and beyond. Because without that, we can't tell the story of this sport the right way. And the timeline of what's actually going through gets skewed. Greatness gets diminished or gets changed in its definition in the wrong way. If we don't call stuff or tell stuff like it's supposed to be in the right way. And we don't want that, because then the bar gets lower, the talent gets more rudimentary, and everything suffers because of it. You got to keep that standard high. That's what we try to do. And we debate, we argue, we love it, and so absolutely. But that's what we do here on the show. So we appreciate the love. Absolutely, no question. Let me see. Al Booker, did you cover game 3 already? I did cover game 3. I covered that Halliburton actually showed up. Halliburton played like a superstar, unlike he did in game 2 when they got dominating. And now, if they take game 4, because they won game 3. If they take game 4, I'm scared for OKC. And I said that game 4 is going to be the most important game for the Thunder in this iteration of championship aspirations. With how they are right now, this is going to be the most important game for all of their careers at this point. Because if they lose game 4, they're getting gentlemen's court. They're losing in 5. Because now the Pacers, they got you. Because you adapted to them from the game 1 debacle. That they came back from the worst game ever. They're never going to play that again. You showed that you can up your level, and you dominated them in game 2. 123 to 107? And you held Hallie to incredibly low standards. Now Hallie's playing great. And the rest of the team's playing up to their par. And you lost again. Now, you got to look at yourself in the mirror and really take some inventory. Because you lose this next game, brother, it's going to be a hard year to climb. Let alone from 3-1, but especially against this team. That at any point in time, they can come back or they can build up a lead. They're just too insurmountable. So I can't wait for game 4. Oh, I'm so excited for game 4. Absolutely. Did you cover Wardley versus Hooney in the last show? You know what? I did not. Wait a minute. Hold on. I did not. I didn't cover any of those. Oh, shoot. I didn't realize that. I did not cover Hooney. I didn't cover Juto Nakatani. My gosh. I covered Abdullah Mason. I covered the Keyshawn Davis thing. Because that was the most pressing stuff that was going on. And plus we had the announcement with Crawford versus Canelo on Netflix. I completely forgot to talk about it. Let's talk about it now. Fabio Wardley got knocked out by Hooney. Fabio Wardley knocked out Justice Hooney in the late stages of what was going to be a dominating win for Justice Hooney. It happened. My gosh. In a one-punch KO that, like somebody said in the chat, and I had to go back and look at it, was eerily similar to the way that Tyson knocked out, what was his name? But it started with a B. Not Galata. It wasn't Andrew Galata. It was Bolter. Was it Bolter? Bolter. Yeah, that one similar one-punch KO that he knocked out Bolter with. I see the resemblance there. But my gosh, man, look, that fight was one of the most insane things I've seen. It's one of the most insane things. And see, Abdullah is tough. Ranked number 1 now. Abdullah Mason's getting ready to fight for a title. If you didn't know, I can bring it up right now, real quick. While I'm answering your comment with the Wardley fight, which I did not get to cover, nor the Junto Nakatani fight, which I did not cover. Abdullah Mason's getting ready to fight for a title right now. If you are just tuning into the show, my gosh, hey, it's here now. He's ranked number 1. He's getting ready to fight for the WBO title. They got 20 days to negotiate, but it's almost assured it's going down, and we're excited for it. I think he's going to knock him out and win, dominating fashion. This could be an easy win. I'm not going to lie. Without Abdullah Mason's looking, this might be surprisingly a very easy performance for Abdullah going up against Sam Noakes. Not saying Sam Noakes is bad, but what we're seeing Abdullah Mason turn into, I don't think Noakes is really prepared to handle that type of firepower and collective all-around dominance. Absolutely. So no, he's a bad butter. Abdullah Mason's a bad cat. This butter, he's something serious, but he's something real. Absolutely, he's something real. He's tough, incredibly tough. He can be one of the people that Tank and Shakur might need to be a little bit wary of. Not saying he can beat them outright, but brother, at this point in time, even right now, he can give them both a run for their money. Yes, he can. Absolutely, he can. But with Wardley versus Hooney, and I think I said this on the night of the fight, but Hooney is still going to be great after this loss. I want to see Hooney get a rematch with Wardley because of how dominantly he beat him. One punch was a difference maker, absolutely. But he showed, that's an elite fighter. Justice Hooney showed that's an elite fighter. Absolutely. And there's no shame in losing. But Wardley showed, one, he's got a bunch of heart. This cat's got so much heart. But at the same time, everything I said about Wardley showed to be true more than ever. This man's defense is carried by his chin. This man's defense and ability to pull out these type of insane knockouts is built on his toughness and his chin. He will not be able to keep this up as time goes on. He won't. I promise you he won't. And it's not because I want to hate on him. It's because he can't. In this division, you can't win like that. You can't. Not at this level. Not at this level with people that are better than Hooney. That got as much toughness as you and are more powerful than Hooney as well. It can match you power for power. Nah. It's going to be no. I love the heart. I love the comeback ability. But I also don't love that there was no way that Wardley was going to win that fight if he didn't land a KO. Not just because he needed a knockout, but because there was no way Wardley was able to adapt to anything that Hooney was doing. There wasn't a thing Wardley was able to do. There was not a thing Wardley was able to do to adapt to anything that Hooney was doing. Not a thing. If Hooney had the power of Daniel Dubois, Wardley would be on the floor. Wardley would be going to sleep. Wardley would be in the hospital right now. Roughly 5 days after. There's no way there's no way, shape, or form that he doesn't just win. There's no way he leaves the ring if he had gotten that level of punishment and it had a pop of the likes of a Dubois. No way. And it's gonna be like you going up against other contenders or legitimate championship caliber people, brother. You gonna get put to sleep. Yes, you can catch him. You can turn it all around. No question. But if Hooney's able to slip your offense and shots while coming forward in the pocket, literally slipping and ducking while moving, blocking almost everything that you were throwing after round 4, and still being able to counter with that left hook, land with uppercuts, do volleys up, force you to the ropes every single time, and you keep on getting gassed like you did? Nah, there's no way. There's no way. No way at all. So he's got to fix that. Because if he doesn't, brother, it's going to be bad. It's going to be incredibly bad. Let me see, Jay Will. In a couple of months, we'll have Shakur, Andy Cruz, Abdullah, and Tank as champions at 135. Ooh, buddy. It's going to be interesting. Andy Cruz versus... Also, I forgot about Andy Cruz. Andy Cruz has been calling out Keyshawn Davis, calling him his son. Be on the lookout for potential that fight taking place. And it might not happen at 135. It might happen at 140. Andy Cruz might be at 140 to fight Keyshawn Davis and come back down to 135 to go and handle all this stuff. Because now, off of the losses, Andy Cruz is using this time to talk a lot of smack, a whole lot of smack at Keyshawn Davis. Man, it's funny. It's hilarious. Let me see. Australian fans I talked with said Hooney had a glass jaw. Wait a minute. What? They may know and have followed Justice Hooney closer than me. Understand it. But I distinctly remember there was a couple shots that Wardley landed on Hooney that Hooney took and walked through. Both when Wardley was off the ropes and when Wardley was in the center of the ring, Wardley landed some good stuff on Hooney that Hooney was able to stay up with. So I don't see the glass chin conversation. Wardley just got that type of power. That's like saying you get now the power isn't the same, but Wardley having 18 wins, 17 KOs. Now 19 wins, 18 KOs. Wardley's punching power is some of the best in the division. Now, I'm not saying it's like Wilder, but if you got one tapped by Wilder, we're not saying you got a bad chin. We're saying you got tapped by one of the best punchers in the division. I don't think Hooney's got a bad chin. I didn't see it. Maybe they watched his career more closely than me, but from what I've seen with him, I didn't see he had a bad chin, so I don't get that mindset. Caballero would dismantle Wardley. Oh yeah. Oh shoot. Oh my gosh. Caballero, Caballero being in the center and Caballero and not letting up, staying literally in the chest of Wardley and just relentlessly going to the body. He can do that again. He can potentially replicate the same thing that he did against Zhang. Even though Wardley's got more stamina, same outcome can happen. And he's short, so we can get under the punches that Wardley lands. And now that he knows where he likes to throw, he'll land that hook of his own while going to the body even more fervently than Hooney was going to the body. Oh gosh. Oh, I'm telling you, Wardley better fix that because there can be some real danger going afoot with that. Let me see, Wardley is not the one, but he will entertain us for a long time as his chin holds up. I think Wardley will be a champion. I really do. I think he'll be a champion. I think he'll get there. But it'll be after the old guard is gone or after a specific opening takes place where, okay, yeah, this guy's a champion. I know Wardley can beat him and Wardley beats him. Because all things true right now, it's tough for me to say that he'll be a champion with this current palette of talent coming around. It's going to have to be the right moment. I'm not saying that because I'm disrespecting. I'm saying because of how his talent is showing right now and who's in front of him right now. It's going to have to be at the right time comes where Wardley's able to win and get a title. Because beating these people that we're talking about for a title, if this is the performance he's going to put up against the elites of the elites, I don't see it happen. I don't. And his chin can go the same way as Joe Joyce. With how much he's relying on it right now, it can go the same way. No question about it. Fact, Jean-Luc, I appreciate it. AJ would give him fits to have a matchup for Wardley. I tend to agree. I do. Now, AJ got put down by Zhang, though. But Zhang is also one of the most powerful punchers in the division. And Zhang did it when Zhang was getting dominated, similar to AJ, or similar to Wardley getting dominated. How will he be able to hold up if he gets knocked down again? Against a more conditioned finisher in Wardley, only time will tell, but it's going to be interesting to see nonetheless. Let me see, Glacier, I don't know about that. Yep, I don't know about that either. J. Will, Albuga, I don't think so. Warren was talking about Hooney rematch or Usyk Dubois winner. Warren, I'm sure, knows Caballero's a bad matchup. Yeah, Warren might want to stay away from that. If you wanted to cash out now, you would push for Wardley versus the winner of Usyk versus Dubois. You would. If you wanted to cash out, you would even go for a rematch with Justice Hooney because that fight was still entertaining and it ended in such a shocking fashion. It still has the world abuzz right now. And it's one of the bigger talking points for the boxing world at this stage in the game. And so it's still relevant. That fight gets made again, there's going to be a whole host of people entertained and in tune with who they got winning. Because they're going to say, well, can Wardley do that same one-punch KO again? Because this time, Hooney probably ain't going to make that same mistake. How are you going to get better? is when he's going to get his just deserved win that he almost got the first time. There's going to be a lot of moving parts in the conversations with the likes of Justice Honey versus Wardley. And it could potentially derail what Wardley's got going on. If you're going to cash out now, you look for Wardley to get a shot at the title with Dubois or Usyk. He would lose, absolutely. But you look to get it. If it was any fight that you don't make it versus Ajit. Don't do it. Don't do that. Don't do that at all. Because that would be, that'd be bad. That'd be cutting bad. Oh, okay. I would only give Wardley a punch chance versus Dubois versus Usyk. Just not sure who Wardley can beat at the top. I mean, let's be real. Let me go through it to help paint a better picture. Because again, it's a lot of people in the division. And again, we're in that transition period in the works of boxing right now. We are in that transition period in boxing where the old guards get ready to go and new names are popping up left, right, and center, which is great. We love that. But at the same time, who's at the top is shifting so violently for the heavyweight division more than it has in recent years. So let me look it up. Hold on. As I am trying to pull up the come on now, doggone it. I'm trying to pull up the rankings. I'm trying to pull up the rankings so we can see who's at the top of the mountain and who ain't. For this point in time. Yo, hey, Rusty Cage, brother. Salute to you. How you doing? Thanks for tuning into the show. We appreciate it. Right now, we're in the championship rounds. We're looking up the ranks of the heavyweight division because we've gotten back on a big talk with Fabio Wardley on everything with him and competing at the highest level of the boxing regime. And so I'm pulling up the rankings. I'll pull up the rankings now of the, good gosh, I don't know why. I hope that site, dang it. Did the Transnational Boxing Council, shoot, did that website get taken? Doggone it. Somebody ain't paid their bill. Shoot. Oh, well, we're going to do what we do best. Let me go to ESPN. Let me pull up the rankings for the heavyweights there so I can give you better names of who's at the top and who would need to be beaten. No, man, dang it, that Transnational Boxing Council really was great. I don't know why the website ain't working on it. But let me see. So, of the top names in the division for right now, with Tyson Fury still in the mix, we don't know whether or not he's fully retired or not. He says he is, but he can come back in a heartbeat. He's still training. We don't know. With Tyson Fury in the mix, Usyk, Fury, Daniel Dubois, Joseph Parker, Ajit Caballero, Anthony Joshua, Philip Hergovich, Zhili Zhang, Andy Ruiz, Moses Atuma, right now ranked in the top 10 for ESPN specifically. For the full rankings of the sport, you got others in the top 15. That's where you have the likes of Wardley, Justice Honey, Bacoli, Efe Ajagba, those names in the mix now. Wardley's at the top of that low rung or of that under top 10 status. But of those names that he beat, I mean, outside of maybe Moses Atuma just because of the lack of experience, I don't know. I really don't know what's going on. I really don't know. But let me see. I'm happy Turki called out them track stars, coward boxing. See, we talked about that earlier in the show. My gosh. It was a whole hour plus long. Took up half the show. Honestly, because we had people saying Turki was wrong. We had people saying Turki was right. We had tried to further draw the line of demarcation between boxing and fighting or boxing and running. What is and isn't true. You can go back and look at all of that earlier in the show if you want to. Just rewind. Oh, absolutely. It's a great conversation. Let's see. Hooney got screwed. Did he actually? Shoot. I don't know about that. I don't know about that because the buddy just got caught. I can't really say that he got robbed of a victory because the man, Huni was up on every card. And the entire, even Frank Warren was like, hey, brother, Worley put a Wilder because he was not winning that fight. He was not winning that fight when push came to shove. He was not going to win that fight. That was that. So, oh, Lord. Oh, my gosh. He was not going to win that fight. And so it's like, I don't think he got robbed. I think he's got caught. It's like Wilder did. It's like what Wilder did to the likes of Ortiz, Luis Ortiz, when he knocked him out the second time, when he lost all 7 rounds, and Ortiz fought better. Another fight where Ortiz won the fight almost predominantly off his jab. Dang it! I wish I had thought about that when we were talking about winning a jab in the sport of boxing with just your jab alone. Ortiz won the fight with Anthony Joshua off of his jab alone for nearly the entirety of the 7-round affair. Up until he got caught with one shot. But he was winning it with the jab by itself and almost nothing else, which was insane. And so, but let me see. I've been trying to watch the full count, but there's no video. See, the angles I've been able to see, it looked like Huni was rising to his feet by the time the ref had already hit 10. But I can't see for certain because they cut to Frank Warren and cut to every other brother under the sun instead of the actual fight without it being on the count. So I'm like, hey, man, I don't know. I thought I was the only one that couldn't just see the count clear. But let's see. I'm with Rusty slightly. I want to see Huni trying to get I want to see Huni trying to get up, but there's no video that I found. Me neither. No clear-cut thing. And so I can only infer that it's like, yeah. And even then, Huni wasn't complaining after that. So he was like, he must have known, yeah, I didn't get up. Because if he would have, him and his team would have been protesting. But I don't think I've heard anything from either Justice Huni or his team protesting the count on the night. But again, I'll look it up. Let's see. He got caught and got up before the count. I can't see it clear. I wasn't able to find a clear video. If you have one, hey, great, put it in the description. And we can link it and show it. But I haven't been able to find one that gives that full comment. Let's see, Jack Reese gave Tyson every check to get up. Huni barely got touched the whole fight like Tyson. Let me see. Am I reading that right? Jack Reese gave Tyson Fury every check they gave up to get up. Huni barely got touched the whole fight, just like Tyson. Yeah, Tyson, except for the first 2 rounds, except for the first couple knockdowns, except for that first early knockdown, he didn't really get touched for the whole fight until the other knockdown, and then almost fought himself into a win for that round. Oh, gave him every chance to get up. No, my bad. Excuse me. Okay, I see what you're saying. My bad. I read that wrong. And so, also, Mr. Wong, how you doing? Thanks for joining the show. Glad to see you. Appreciate you coming in. We're at the tail end of the show. Championship rounds are in the foot. We got about what we said 15 minutes, roughly 30 minutes ago. We got 5 minutes left. We're gonna put a cap on it. We're gonna put a cap on it. Cause we got it. I gotta save some energy for tomorrow. And make sure I get my stuff ready for tomorrow for the Friday show that we're gonna do, which we do every single week for you all, which is a fan-driven show where you all control the narrative for everything that we're gonna talk about. But still, let me see what you gotta say. Junto is saying he's gonna move to 126 to fight. Shoot. Wait a second. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Junto's saying he's gonna move up to fight. He's gonna move up to 126 to fight Espinoza. Anyway, can fight him there. He wants. His move seems as the kids would say, diabolical to skip 122. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Oh my gosh. Excuse me. Wait, hold on. You're dropping too big of a bomb. Wait a second. Wait a minute. I've been keeping it with this as closely as I can. I was assured by every single metric, every report, even by the words of both fighters, that Junto was going to fight anyway at 122. after Inoue fought Akhmadaliev. I believe later on this year. I'm so sure. Is he moving to? Is Junto moving up to 126 now? Oh my gosh. Oh shoot. Let me see. Investigates Wardley got a hometown special. Got a about. And again, I mean, like, and again, last thing on the Hooney knockout. With the Tyson Fury and Hooney thing, Jack Reese gave the same consistent count on both knockdowns from when I rewatched the fight. Same consistent count, same way, same going through, counting at his, because again, it's at the ref's pace to count the thing. And so for this knockdown, I didn't see anything bad from the standpoint of, ooh, they robbed him of an opportunity to get up. I know I saw Hooney's eyes glass over on the ground. I know that. And I know by the time it seemed like he had started moving, it wasn't until like the count of 6. And he was still just then rolling over from what I saw. So I don't see any foul play for me. I'll go back and watch it. But right now, I can't say concretely that I saw anything foul. But if there is, we'll keep delving into it. We'll keep finding out. But specifically, back to this. Back to this. If he moves up to 126 from 118, my goodness. Oh, shoot. I mean, shoot. Oh, my gosh. Let me look. You know what? Let's do some live reporting. Let's do some live reporting. Let's make sure this is really true. Moving to. I'm gonna make sure this is true. My gosh, if this is true. Oh my gosh, you're right. My gosh. Oh gosh. Oh Lord. Oh shoot. Oh my. Oh. Oh. Wait. Wait. Hold on. Wait.
Hey, look at this. We got some problems here. We got some problems here.
Wait a second. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. Let me straighten this down a little bit. Oh my goodness. Team Nakatani wants Rafael Espinoza fight. Said Inoue can challenge for Junto title at 126. So, my gosh. When was this? This was posted in 17 days ago. Okay. All right. Team Nakatani wants Rafael Espinoza fight. Said Inoue can challenge for Junto title. Or for Junto. He can challenge Junto for 126 title. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Let's see. Realize they had to blaze their trail and not necessarily wait for the fight with Inoue. Inoue tried to come from a victory against Cardenas. Earlier this month, Monster's plans to drastically change. Earlier this month, that Monster's plans can change with a single punch. Nakatani 118 champion. Inoue undefeated 122. Square off for a super fight in Japan next year. But until then, Inoue is planning to fight. Until that fight next year, he's trying to fight Akhmadaliev, and Nick Ball. But I thought Nick Ball was after Junto Nakatani. I thought Nick Ball was after Nakatani. Because Akhmadaliev's happening at the end of this year. And Nick Ball, I was sure that was happening. It was happening next year. But after they get that mega fight at 122, with Junto moving up. And then, regardless of the result, then Inoue goes to 126 and fights Nick Ball. I thought that was the case. But is this really what's going on? Wait a minute. Hold on. So are we saying that now the plan is for Inoue to have fought Akhmadaliev and then Nick Ball and then fight Nakatani afterwards instead of after Akhmadaliev? No, that changes some things. And that, ooh. Oh, shoot. Oh, my gosh. That's two weight classes. That's 120, 118. And again, I think Stavi corrected me a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't get to acknowledge it. I misspoke. Bantamweight's 118. Super bantamweight is 122. My apologies. 118 to 126. 1920s, 122, 123, 120. That's a 7-pound jump immediately off the bat. Good gosh, without any tune-up. Against literally one of the biggest fighters in that division, Espinosa, who is also a heavy-handed puncher. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's insane. Oh, that's insane. That's insane if that takes place. Because again, now, full disclaimer, if Inoue did try to fight Nick Ball after fighting Akhmadali, that's not a duck. Be clear, that's not a duck. Because he's moving up in weight, keeping consistent, moving up in weight, fighting at this point in time one of the two best at that division for a title in an incredibly dangerous fight that is seen as at that division one of the biggest ops that can beat Inoue. We understand. So fighting him is not a duck because you're still elevating your competition. And at this point in time, Junto ain't moved up yet to 122. He's still at 118. So if that does happen, fine. I just thought the plan was it was Akhmadali, Nakatani, and then Ball, because after Nakatani's win against Nishida, he was going to announce that he's moving up to 122. And then Nakatani fights Akhmadali. And if he wins, he goes and he fights Junto in Junto's first fight at 122. That's what I thought was going to happen. But again, this is new. We're trying to make sense of it all. We're trying to go through it and really make sense of it all, so we can do this right and we can talk about this correctly. Let's see. Abdullah last week I caught Welch with his own argument about the Huni stoppage. Hey man, look. I couldn't see it clear then. I saw it clear now with different angles. I'm just saying what I think. If you feel I'm wrong, understandable. Again, we ain't got no clear video on the count, which makes this whole conversation muddy, which I hate. I don't know why they did that. I don't know why nobody caught him getting up. But nobody caught him getting up fully for the full count, unlike every other knockdown we've seen. Nobody put the camera on Huni for somehow, some way to show the full count to see if the buddy got up or not. Maybe they got the sky cam and they'll put that up eventually. So hopefully they do. But my gosh, we're going to see. Talking about different thing. Talking about different fight. I hit him with the Chavez versus Taylor stoppage. If that was wrong, so with this, like I said, yeah, you did hit me with it, absolutely. And so it's just, I'm not denying it. The only thing I don't like about this whole conversation, we just didn't get to see the full count, start to finish, like we've seen for every other knockdown. Which, as much as I'm trying to be as concrete as possible, there's a level of unknown that it just exists because of a literal lack of evidence that we do not have access to. Somebody in the production trucks got it. We don't. The full count. And I can give you a full blaze description. I'm just trying to pan into everything that we got. Everything that I got access to try to give you the right thing. But again, it's probably gonna be a conversation until the cows come home. But you did bring up a good point with Chavez versus Taylor. You did bring up a good point with Chavez versus Taylor. So yeah, I'll give you that, absolutely. But again, listen, Nick Ball already have fought ex-Inoue opponents in Doheny. Yes, he did. And Sam Goodman next. Yes, he is. He's going to fight Sam Goodman next after Goodman again got cut and couldn't fight Inoue. A fight that most of us believe Inoue would have handled Sam Goodman probably with relative ease. Almost assuredly with relative ease if he had actually fought and not gotten cut in both instances against Inoue or before fighting Inoue. We probably would see him getting beat. It seems after he wins and Inoue beats MJ, that's the fight Ball versus Inoue. I can see it. Now, I was going off of the quote by Inoue saying that he was going to stay at 122 for as long as he could before moving up to 126. Because remember, Inoue said 126 is his last weight class. Let's not forget that. He's not moving up past 126. Inoue's words, not mine. Inoue's words, not mine. He's not moving past 126. Once he gets there, that's the last weight class he's going to fight at or up to for his career. He may fluctuate up and down, but he won't get past 126. His words, not mine. So with that being the case, and with him seeming that he's comfortable at 122 up until this point in time right now, still in the prime of his career, I thought that it made sense to have the Nakatani fight at 122 rather than going and fight Nick Ball at 126, even though they've had common opponents. Because Nakatani is oh so close, and that fight is almost more set in stone because of the distance between them being shorter, the hype already being high, and both of them handling their business at their weight class, respectfully. Because Ahmad Ali thought that was the last hurdle, and then Nakatani, boom, it's happening. So we're gonna keep watch with it. We're getting, different iterations of what the timeline is going to be when that fight's going to take place. We're going to make sense of it all. Just know, whichever fight comes first, it's going to be a barn burner. Absolutely. No question about it. I don't know. I know why they didn't show it. Because it would have been disputed. Okay. We got a little bit of giving the rub to the guy and trying to hide some evidence. Oh boy. Oh no. Dare we say conspiracy coming afoot? Is the game afoot? Do we need Sherlock Holmes to come through and investigate this whole thing? Maybe so. And so, shouldn't we be outraged they didn't show it? Where's the transparency? Again, I'm frustrated with it. Absolutely, I really am. That's why I say I want the rematch. It was still a great fight. Wardley caught him. It looked like Cooney was out, but at the same time, he might have actually beaten the count, and the ref just stopped him before giving him the actual checkup of, hey, are you good to go? Are you good to go? And then walk out. And so hey, look, we can run into a whole different conversation or a whole other rabbit hole trying to figure out what's actually what. And we're going to figure it out, absolutely. But it's just, there's so much stuff going on right now. I'm just like, look, give us the rematch. Make it happen. Make Wardley do it again if there is anything going wrong with it. And if it was real, they'll do it again. If not, Justin Hooney will get his comeuppance and get the victory that he deserves. Whatever the case may be. It's like, there's so much stuff going on in the boxing world that it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of moving parts, man. It's oh Lord. Shoot. How about them Pacers? Well, I think we talked about it earlier, but I'll give you another rundown of it. Pacers beat OKC, took a 2-0 lead, and Halliburton showed up and showed out this game instead of from the debacle that was last game, from coming up from the midst of despair and absolutely a deplorable type of game that he played in game 2 when he got blown out 123 to 107. He comes up. In fact, let me pull up the actual. Let me pull up his stat sheet, because his stat sheet made a real difference in why this whole team was able to do what it does best. Because last game he didn't show up, but this game, but it had 22, 9, and 11. On top of being able to further implement that dominant, constant, ever-flowing offense that Rick Carlisle brought on him. And it was incredible. Pascal Siakam had 21. Tyrese Halliburton had 22, 9, 11. You had who had 29? Or it's gonna be 20. Is that Benedict Mathurin had 27 off the bench. TJ McConnell had 10. Yet again, showing up and showing through, had 5 steals on the game. Tyrese Halliburton, when he plays good,
Pacers
Everything else about
grab a
this team gets
2-1
better.
series lead
Both
in the NBA
defensively and
Finals. The
offensively.
full highlight as the
When he
Pacers
plays
hosted
bad,
an NBA Finals game
he
for the
can still
first time
keep
in a
that
quarter
flow
century,
of
and
making
they were
everybody
ready
elevate even more.
for it.
Just by
The
him being
Thunder
on the
were
court.
ready for action as well.
That's
They're up
the
7. What
real
a beautiful dime
juxtaposition
from
that
Alex
we're seeing.
Caruso to Chet
Okay,
Holmgren, who had
but playing
13
against
in the
somebody who
first.
even
The
playing
thin man
bad
was
can
putting his
still
fingerprints on the
dictate
game.
how
So
this
too
team
was
is able to run.
TJ McConnell. Down low, the little
And though they
paint
had a
finish
very
from
bad game
Siakam, and then
in
there's the
game,
steal
again, in
from
game,
McConnell. Clean
game
look
2.
from Siakam from 3, no.
Game
but
1.
McConnell gets the rebound
Same
and
thing is still
in one motion
the
flips
Fire
it
was
to
able to come
Benedict
back and they were able to win.
and the Pacers
Game
are down
3,
just 4.
they make adjustments on
McConnell
OKC's
again,
dominating
going
performance
baseline.
in the last game.
What a find.
And now they come out and win
Aaron
116,
Nesmith on the
107.
cut. And then give me that.
All of a sudden looking like, hey,
It's
brother,
a steal, and
you
he
ain't
throws
seen
it
the
on
real us.
Case and Wallace.
We still got more layers to
McConnell.
our onion. We still got
There's a
more
meme of him
pages
screaming,
to our
"I'm a
book.
dog," I
And
believe.
you ain't even,
He
you
was
ain't
that
definitely ready.
tonight. There's a
Game
find
4,
in the
like I've said
corner,
before,
and guess
it's
who?
going to be one of the most
It's
important games for
Mathurin.
OKC
All 3 of these.
for their team in
McConnell
time right now.
plus minus a plus 13 in the first half.
Oh, I
tied for
do?
the most
Oh,
of
shoot.
anybody on Indiana.
What's playing?
After
Oh. See, is it happening now? Is it happening now? Are we good now? Oh, is it off now? Cause I got ESPN pulled up to go through the stats, and right now it is. I didn't recognize it, but there was a video that was playing under the at the bottom of the page that was. I wasn't hearing it in my headphones, but it was playing in the background. I didn't recognize it. I'm so sorry. Let me backtrack. Let me reiterate everything in a summary without that in the background because I didn't know it was there. Pacers got more pages to their book. Pacers have now showed they can play bad and still win, and they can play great and run you out the building. Pacers just showed that they would never play as bad as they played in game 1 and let you get away with it. Game 2, sure, OKC figured them out. They got that. They adapted. But now, the pages in that book, Pacers turned over a new page. Tyrese Halliburton played up to his all-star level moniker. OKC did not play bad. But OKC, again, got, to a degree, outcoached and outrun this game. Now, game 4, with Pacers having a 2-0 lead, it's going to be one of the most important games of this series for OKC. It's going to be one of the most important games for OKC in their development as a championship contender all the way down the line. Let's be real. This game is going to help dictate the trajectory of what this OKC squad is going to be, not just for this series, but for as they keep on growing and getting better. Genuine. Because now their backs to the wall potentially. And they are potentially going to be put in a bad hole that they, even with all their experience, might not be able to get out of. As good as they are. This is going to be a real, look, this next game is going to be like a liver shot for this team. I'm so serious. They can either power through it, recover from it, and get up, or brother, they get caught game 3 and they can't get up. They can't take it. Genuine. In fact, better disclaimer. This next game is going to be like a liver shot for the team. The whole game. The whole game is going to be a liver shot for the team. Because now you got rocked. Game 2, they adapted. They took the lead. You got hurt to the body. You got hurt to the liver. Game 3 is the aftershocks of that liver shot. Now, you're fighting to stay up. You ain't gone down yet, but you're fighting to stay up because the pain is unrelenting. If they lose game 4, now it's going to be the liver shot knocked them down. It's going to be the liver shot. Game 3 is the liver shot that landed. The result of game 4 is going to be whether or not they stay up or they get knocked down and put on the campus. And then afterwards, from that game on, it's going to be a fight to beat the 10 count. That's what it's going to be. That's what it's going to be. Because they are going through a level of concern and a level of pain they ain't felt before throughout the season. They haven't. They already got chin checked with that game winner against Halliburton. They got rocked and buzzed. They recovered. Won the next round in game 2. Then game 3 got caught with the liver shot. And now they lost the round, but they still they ain't going down. But if they lose game 4, that means they got put on the canvas. And that liver shot took a bigger toll than we may expect. A delayed reaction per se. And then from games 5 and on, it's going to be fighting to beat that 10 count. Not just winning the fight, fighting to beat and get up. Because if they lose game 4, brother, it's going to be a tough task to come back from 3-1 and get up after that much of a debilitating blow. Something that the OKC Thunder have never faced off against before. In this dominant era in time that they've been in, with beating the best team in the NBA, wholeheartedly, with an MVP on their team, with an all-defensive unit around them as well. It's going to be interesting to see. And I'm excited for game 4, no question about it. And so I can't wait to see it. But with all that being said, we got to go. We got to get out of here. I am, am I losing my voice or am I just hungry? I ain't eating today. So I got to eat. So we got to get some food. But we're going to get out of here. Unless somebody's got anything else they want to ask, I think we're going to wrap it up and send it home for a phenomenal show with everything that we're going on. We're going to be back tomorrow talking about, again, whatever you want to discuss. Fully dedicated show to you all, the fans, to talk about the world of sports. And we're going to be excited for it, absolutely. But with all that being said, this has been another episode of The Watch What with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to what we got going on in the world of boxing and beyond. I've been your host, Jean-Luc Welch. We've had so much great conversation with Abdullah Mason, with Junto Lakatani, and news with him fighting at 126 against Espinoza, Fabio Wardley, Canelo, and Crawford. All that and more we talked about today, and still going through the world of basketball and boxing. His cousin's in the DeMarcus Cousins is not in the NBA right now. He's playing overseas. Just got suspended for the rest of the year for going at a fan. And you can look at the video on that. It was insane. But it's ridiculous. But regardless of which, we'll touch on that later on tomorrow, because we gotta end it today, because I need to make sure I'm prepped for tomorrow. But leave a like on the video, comment your thoughts and opinions, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know whenever we post on this show. Share the show with everybody you know, so we can keep on building up this empire together. And hey, if you want to give to the channel and support the show, Cash App, PayPal, links in the description. Anything we'll do. If you want to give 100, give 100, 1,000, 1,000,000. Want to pay all my bills? Go ahead and make it happen. But if you want to support to help keep the show going, and you like what you're hearing, and you want to support, hey, feel free to do it. Whatever you can give, we appreciate it so much. And we're going to keep making the show better and better every single show to make it so to give you the quality content that you deserve. But I've been Jean-Luc Welch. Y'all have been wonderful. Peace and love. We are out here. Yes, sir. We're going to see you all tomorrow.